More Than Rich podcast. Welcome back to today's episode where we dive deep into the world of emerging technologies. Today, we got no other than Roberto Capodieci.
Capodieci. I actually made a reel the other day with all the mispronounces of my family name. It's quite funny, but yes, it's pretty much okay.
So
it's
I don't fit into those reels, right? I'm good.
Maybe you're there. I don't know. Go check it.
Just making sure I don't get clipped. Expert consulting made all the difference for countless businesses. Strategic mindset and a commitment to underpromise and never deliver. Roberto has positioned himself and other companies for success, guiding them through critical decisions, saving them time and money. From strategic and tactical planning to team building and peer-to-peer networks, Roberto's experience and expertise is a trusted resource for C-level leadership worldwide. About to explore the latest trends and insights with one of the industry's most respected thought leaders. Welcome back to the show.
Wow. Thank you. And thank you for having me in the show.
AI and advancements. Actually, before we go deep into AI and advancements, we were talking about where you're from, talked a little bit about Indonesia. We talked about the arrest. Where do you want to start with all this?
Europe. Whatever is okay. So just to clarify, the motto, under-promise and over-deliver, can be misunderstood with under-promise and never-delivered, which is another kind of people. Because I was like, huh? So under-promise and over-deliver. Don't promise too much and give more of what they expect, so the client is always happy. It's a good, things to follow for whoever has clients. Anyways.
Roberto makes a lot of promises, y'all.
And I over-deliver, though. That's
correct.
So, yeah, I'm Italian. I'm Italiano. But I don't live in Italy for more than half of my life. I've spent about 10 years in the United States. Now it's 20 years that I'm in Southeast Asia. Bali, the island of Bali, that many people may know, is a tropical island, big tourist destination. In Italy, I'm from Venice, another big tourist destination, very different from Bali. I was in Florida in the United States, another place where people go there, spend their winters from the north of the United States. And,
I remember I was tripping out because when you had posted after our last podcast, you went on LinkedIn and you posted older like photos and news articles of you. And I was like, oh, he's really been doing this his whole life, like literally like forever.
Yeah. And the best school I did is the real experience of things, starting company when I was a little kid. I remember, for example, preparing a fax to send to a potential client or prospect client. It might take 2 days because the logo was in the right position. And if you look at them, they were so horrible anyway. It doesn't make difference. But,
Wow.
Things that eventually you do very easily has been interesting to learn by doing. Speaking at conference, public speaking since I was a little young boy. Television, I've been a guest in important TV shows. So, yeah, that's something. Yeah. I think you've been doing the same as well. You had your public exposure since you were younger, right?
Yeah, but you were giving me some crazy business perspective today where I was like, damn, you've been going through bureaucracy longer than I've been alive,
Well, that's for sure.
Like literally, I'm serious. Like if you've been seeing, it's so good though, because if you've been going up against it that long, then it should be like, I don't know, not just foreshadowing, but solid advice that you got to go around the system sometimes.
Right. That's exactly. It is really linked to two important points. One, the arrest of Durov, because that's really quite related to regulation. And on the other side, my choice to live in Indonesia, because things are over-regulated now in, first world country, if you want, in Europe, mostly. They say, Europe over-regulated and kills things. ChatGPT cannot be published in Europe because whatever. So the regulators in Europe, in Belgium, that they do the regulation for Europe, are putting a lot of obstacle for innovation. And so while citizens are very protected, if you think about the credit score in America is like a commodity the company sells to another, about the people financial status in Europe, you are very protected. They cannot do that, like this. But on the other hand, if you just want to hang a painting in your own house, maybe you need a permission from, if the building is historical or whatever. So there are the two different aspects. And growing older, I saw how rules were not so bad when I was a little kid. Common sense will rule. You know that you're going to hurt yourself if you go there. You don't need a law that tell people that, like you see and learn. Now the rules are so crazy that create obstacles. In Indonesia, the beautiful thing is they're still based on common sense on a lot of aspects. So you are more free to move and do things. And that's one of the reason that I love to live here. There are rules. It's not that there are not, and I actually follow them. Many people call me crazy because I try to be everything correct by the law. Well, nobody does, but at the same time, the rules that are there are nothing compared to the rules that there are in Europe, for example. So it's much easier to do things, to live life.
Got any examples on that one?
I give you an example. Let's say we want to open a restaurant, okay? Build a piece of property and open a restaurant. In the United States, you build it, you should follow the rules of the county about the electrical plant and whatever. But you are free to do it. They trust that you do it right. They come and visit. If it's not done right, they tell you need to fix it in 3 months, 6 months, we come back to check. But you can still operate, right? Unless you did a disaster. But in Italy, if you want to open a restaurant, you need to rent the place. Before you have all the license, you pay the rent of the place for a year before you can even start seeing a client coming in. Okay. And this is reversed because the regulation doesn't allow to do things beforehand. Okay. And the bureaucracy is very slow. Here in Indonesia, you just open. You don't even need to say anything to anybody.
Like you put a cardboard sign outside your house and you call it
exactly.
something.
Think about in the past, one of iconic things about the United States were the kids that have the lemonade stand, right? And collect a few money. Now it's illegal for a kid to have the lemonade stands because of health regulation, etc., etc. Okay. In Italy, just forget the arrest the parent because of extra regulation. Here is lucky somebody that can run a lemon stand is already a rich person, So you have these differences that the regulator put. I'm not saying the regulation are bad. The regulation are important, and the application rules is another thing that make a difference. For example, in the United States, a lot of legislation is based in a little bit of common sense. That's why you have a jury. Mm-hmm. You may have broken the law, but done in a good faith for a good outcome, you're innocent. You may have followed the law precisely, but you managed to steal money or scam somebody, even if you follow the rule, you are in a bad, intent, you're guilty. In Europe, in Italy, no. If you follow the rules, you are following the rules, even if the outcome is very evil. On the other side, if you did something good, but you broke, and then you're guilty. To the point that thieves breaking your house and they trip on the carpet and they hit with their face the ground, they can sue you for the damage they got. And, there are here, for example, the insurance in the car is not even compulsory. So you can drive the car with no insurance, most of the time, no driver license. When you have an accident, the police is going to take the document of ownership of both cars. And until the two people agree on to solve the problem between themselves, they don't give back the ownership of the car to the people. So it's really left down to the common sense of finding a good point of agreement, right? And having less regulation in case of corruptions don't allow to be used for other means, like the use of laws for political gains, which is a very common thing that you see in many countries. The oppositor get arrested for some stupid things like blasphemy. We had a prominent politician in Indonesia, and the oppositor get arrested for blasphemy because they said the phrase that could be interpreted like this. This guy went 2 years in prison and couldn't go to the election. In Malaysia, the oppositor have been accused of sodomy, which is illegal, and also taken out. So once you have rules that can be misused, if something is considered bad, illegal, illegal, which, as I told you before we start recording, something legal doesn't mean that it's good or ethical. Means only that is following the rules written by some other people. And when you live in a society, you're supposed to follow those rules if you want to live okay in the society. But we need to pay attention that something legal doesn't mean that is okay because it's because it's legal. It's a rule that you need to follow. That's it. But and so
No,
there
for
are many
sure.
laws that
And
are not.
I mean, the most basic, ridiculous example would be like food labeling, right? That's the most ridiculous one. How it's all a lot of gimmicks in America. But on your topic though, I was just googling. Indonesians have right to exercise the fundamental freedom of opinion and expression, vividly stipulated in their Constitution of 1945. I was just curious. I'm like, can you say whatever you want right now? Like, I didn't even know that.
No.
So I was just
You know,
curious.
there is the censor still active here. Books need to be, you know, vetted by the government before they can be published and purchased. But see, this thing is because many things are tolerated, even though there are rules of a certain kind, or there is a principle.
Mhm.
If you is okay, once the rules are, you know, enforced heavily, then you get to have obstacle on things that would be common sense would say is okay, you know. And then there is this issue of conflict about you know, also because regulators they cannot see the extent of the effect of the rules. I give you an
Uh,
example. You're talking about food labeling or food health law. In Europe, they made it illegal for farmers to use certain poisons because for as much as you wash the fruit, it's gonna come and damage you. Okay, when you eat it. So protection to the consumer, top level. Farmer can only produce half of what they should because they cannot use those poison. But
damn.
we import from country where it is poison are okay to be used. So we start eating the poison food. We punish the local farmers because the regulation is not made correctly. It should made on the selling point. You cannot sell food that has been grown with this. Doesn't matter where it come from, right? So doing a rule, you end up punishing somebody, but opening opportunity to other comes, for example,
It's
chemicals
like,
that are.
is it like
Right.
dropping the hammer on one way? Basically, you can't do that.
You need to think to the full extent of the effect of some regulation, right? A company that makes, for example, some food color addictive that comes out to be cancerogen, okay? They don't have market anymore in their own country. They come in Southeast Asia, and where there is no law related to that, or you can lobby the government just by buying a dinner to somebody, and they start selling those products here. Consumer is not protected because there is no regulation. Is more illiterate, so doesn't know how to protect themselves, and it become like the wasteland of the planet because of there is no regulation in a certain way. So
Ooh,
when you go in Europe and you buy something at the supermarket, you are highly guaranteed that what you're buying is good quality for you. Who losing money behind as another thing, you know. But at the same time, then you cannot, for example, you cannot buy any more a product from a farmer directly because it doesn't go through a mechanics of a certain way. Here you can, you know. So there are the pro and cons. So we're going to kill, regulation are killing some basic healthy behavior of people because it's become illegal to do such the stuff that people always done forever, and limit the possibility to do things properly sometimes because they force you through a channel a way that is not the good one, because people are gonna always search the convenience and the effectiveness of what they do, right? So
convenience is king. And isn't it interesting that countries develop reputations? Because we were speaking highly earlier about Singapore, and I related to that one. I'm like, yeah, their government's super open to foreigners and doing business, and I love it. Love it. You can send them an email; they'll get back to you.
but it's also a country that has 5 million people inside, of which locals are like 2 millions, the rest are foreigners, means mostly for construction. So it's easy to, you know, go even after a single person. You know, you really go out to take your dog for a walk and you meet the prime minister that is walking his dog as well, because it is really such a small country, right? Consider that Singapore as an area of just a few miles by a few miles, really You can walk around Singapore in a day. And half of the island is reserved for the army. They have a very amazing, super technological, highly professional, super well-trained army that never participate to any war in their life. They only did demo of how powerful they
So
are.
cool. I love
And
it.
half of the island reserved the jungle for them to do exercise in the jungle. So it's really small, the area. That's why they have this high-rise skyscraper for people to live in, because there is really small space. And it's easy. You cannot do the same thing like in Indonesia, 270 million people born in village that never registered their birth certificate, they don't exist, which happened in the United States as well. I was around Arizona, I think, in some small village, in some small trailer, that there was this family with this kid that there was same color of the soil as much as was rolling around.
Wow.
And this kid that was already 3-4 years old, they had no birth certificate. They gave him a name, they call him some, because they are such an abandoned place. So some stuff doesn't happen only in a developing country, if you want to call them ethically, or third world country, for what they're actually being known until a few months ago. You know, there are things that happen everywhere in the world. There are different reality in different places, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a super good point. Since we last spoke, there was some big significant advancements in AI, with OpenAI releasing GPT-4 Turbo and MetaAI making Llama 2 available to the public. How do you see these developments influencing the future of AI-driven industries, especially in areas like creative content generation and large-scale automation?
Wow. Which AI produced this question? No,
No, but definitely. Hey, I'm
just kidding. I'm kidding.
grabbing
I know.
all the relevant news.
Well, you know, that is a fascinating moment with this emerging technology of AI. I mean, AI existed since the longest time. Machine learning is a technique that has been studied back from the 60s, I think, you know. Now we have powerful machine. It's interesting to look NVIDIA as a company that were doing graphic card. It was a company for gaming. Now how they are on the top of the world because they can do processor for, you know, AI. Now a lot of company, Apple, the latest model, they all have a chip for AI inside, for example, dedicated to AI. Phone, they're making cell phone that can run locally small models with AI inside.
I'm not really liking it
And
though. So far, not
yeah,
finding
well,
it useful. So far,
what,
maybe it's
you don't find AI useful?
not on Apple anyway. Just so far, haven't been really using it.
Well, I mean, I run models in my the Llama 70 billions runs in my computer, so which is powerful. I can open in the browser when I want, and even if I'm fully offline, you know, is
Interesting.
locally processed, which is interesting because it's interesting how so much knowledge is concentrated in just a few gigabytes of, of file, you know, and it is something that we are all superhumans. Now, you know, like it's interesting how the difference is not the executive capacity of something, it's not the execution, but is the thought that goes before the execution. So you need to be able to understand what to ask, how to ask. But then the execution is really something that we don't have to worry anymore. So that's empowering humans. And if it's democratic and everybody has access to this because it's open source, because a small cell phone can process this thing as well, then there is no need of somebody being supreme above others, right? Rather than not, because everybody will have the
Level
same
playing field.
kind of level. And I wonder where this thing can go, in what direction can go. Surely it's going to change drastically the way that things are implemented, the way things are used. If the power goes so well up, all the gaming world or the movie entertainment world, music, there are websites where you can create music songs that are sang with the instrument. Just you give some concept of the theme. There is a guy that I keep meeting when I scroll about in social media. They make a country song of the most strange kind of things. He's a drummer, and you
Just
drum
making
after,
it
and you
funny.
see the lyrics of this song are so funny and amazing, you know, generated by AI. And in the same way, if AI can produce images at a speed higher than 30 frames per second, then it can generate a movie in real time for you based on your desire or what you want to. So there is not going to be anymore a movie that everybody watch, or they're going to be too, but there's going to be also totally personalized, customized experience, 100% shaped around who you are. I enter back home, the background music is the exact music I need in this moment because AI can see by my face that I am in a certain mood. I sit down and watch something that's going to be something created.
Yeah, I just saw something that was like an emulator of a video game, like one of the early video games. It's just all AI pixels at this point. That's insane.
Which is interesting to understand what it goes behind, because this is, I think, you refer to Doom. Doom was a three-dimensional model
Yeah, that's what
space
it was.
with very
Couldn't remember
low
what game
graphic.
it was. Yeah.
Doom, and they did also Minecraft.
Mm.
The difference is that when you run the regular Doom or the regular Minecraft, there is a 3D map of the place which is plotted based where you're moving. The one done with AI is an actual flat image that is generated based on how you should see the perspective in 3D, but it's not calculated by a 3D map of the place, which is incredible if you think about it.
So does that mean it's making it up as you go?
Yeah, correct.
Wow.
It is fantastic. It is, maybe it has already like a few seconds ahead of guessed what it's going to be.
The implications of that are crazy. Like, you're going to keep somebody addicted to that shit infinitely. Like, that means you could play a game, and every time you play it through, it'll be different. You get what I mean? Like, that level, the pathway.
Absolutely. It's absolutely. They show, NVIDIA show off some stuff. You enter in a bar, and there is the bartender have a conversation with you like this, and says, none of this is scripted in the game detail. The game detail says only you enter a bar, there is a barman, they have a chit chat. The rest has been created on the spot. No,
this is where we could have a podcast, like, and we're not even there. That's where that comes into play. Like, they're just talking.
This and will be sad because we lose the originality of what somebody wants to share. But we are to the point that that I never coded, which is not true because I've been coding video games. But let's say my mom, that never coded a video game, has a very brilliant idea of a game that is situated in this pink city with, I don't know, unicorn popping around, the gold, whatever. She just need to tell this to the AI, and the AI is going to make out the game that she thought, and she can sell it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
let's get a little
spend
meta.
Years studying the real engine, can go sleep because no more jobs.
I wanted to ask your opinion on Llama, but I kind of wanted to also get meta with it, where if life is all code, like if everything is code going through the air, how does that relate to like we're forming code with our thoughts in everyday life, in a sense?
Oh, here there are beautiful theory, but there is a lot of wealthy people that is investing money to prove that we are in a simulation. There is the theory of
you know where I'm going.
No, but that's exactly the point, right? Statistically, there is only one chance in a million that we are not in a simulation. So it's much easier that we are in a simulation than not. Like in terms of statistics. Statistically, it's given that we are in a simulation, right? But then it's gonna be some big pill to digest that we are in a simulation. Right? I don't know if you know a TV series. There was a TV series called Twilight Zone, and there were two sets. One made in the 60s in black and white, and one made in the 80s, I think, or 90s in color. And there was a very beautiful episode where this couple wake up outside of the time. So they woke up later in time, and there is all these people building up the city, breaking the car, they had an accident, preparing the scene for the moment that the time would have met the specific minute. And
that's dark.
This is pretty cool because
super deep.
So practically, the idea they enter in the neighbor's house. They were in a holiday, and they enter, and it's all white. There is nothing inside the house. And one of these people that is building says, because nobody's gonna go inside, so does it make sense for us to build inside of the house if nobody's gonna? So the idea, like if a tree fall in the forest and nobody's there to listen, you make noise. That
also reminds me of the architect scene in The Matrix.
Yeah, but they all go back down to the same point, right? Is reality what we see with our eyes and what because we don't know what we see with our eyes, honestly. We know what our brain produces with the signal that our eyes receive of light reflected,
here's
right?
a good one. Here's a good one. Are we anticipating technology that we can just move outside our own eye spectrum, where we can like watch others in other realms? Is that possible? Could we be moving into
Am
that?
I doing this now that I'm in Indonesia? I see somebody in the United States.
That's not fair. It's like
But
it's like
in
you're just
another
an
way,
interactive mirror. You know what I mean? It's recording.
there is an interesting point. If you think about it, when you want to go in the realm of ghost and other things, for example, the light, I mean, what we see is a reflection of light. Absence of light, we see all black, right? Which means that nothing has the color that it has. The color that you see is just what the light reflected on the surface brings to our eyes, right? And we have a very specific range of light that we see. We don't see infrareds, for example, right? Infrareds are blinded to our eye. But if you have somebody with an eye that has a more extensive set of frequency, maybe you see things that we don't see. Like if there is like when you see a rainbow, the rainbow doesn't really exist. The rainbow is the light that goes through this water and breaks and show us those colors because
Making
right
me think of contacts, like technological contacts are coming or something.
in terms of
Like lenses, you know what I mean? Like that's what you're making me
content
think.
lens. Absolutely. Can you imagine if you have a? But these are not. This is not sci-fi. This is for real. There are lenses that see the filter, not see,
Ooh.
transform the infrared invisible light to your eyes. So you go. I don't know if you ever played with infrared light.
No.
Is carried once Russia collapsed in the past after Gorbachev and all. Russia went through collapse. In Europe, we've been flooded with military stuff. The people were selling the market, the things military grade of Russia.
Whoa.
You know, beside the weapons that
Damn.
were sold illegal that somebody still had under the but there were this black light pretty much. And my friend bought a big one, big like this. The light bulb was big like this. We go to my house, we seal all the windows so it's pitch dark. He turned it on and says it's broken, doesn't make any light. He says, wait, put the special glasses on, and it was daylight inside the room,
Whoa.
because those glasses transform the reflection of infrared to a color that our eyes can see. You see in the movie when the army goes around, they see everything greenish color. This was red, but that doesn't make difference, right? The mechanics is the same. So if we could have the capacity to see outside the spectrum of the color set and the light of reflection, pretty much colors are light reflection, we may be able to see things that we don't see. I cannot say are not there because they will be there, but we don't see as much as we see a
All the
rainbow
time.
thanks to the filter of the rain. And some people says that with all cell phone they have the infrared light to make night picture. They took the picture of a strange creature around. There are some even videos, not only pictures, that now nobody knows if they're real or they're fake
Well,
or whatever. But
you've heard the other one where the pilots with the red infrared, right? That one where they were seeing.
similar things, right? So what is hidden in plain sight, of those that can see those colors, right? Those light reflection. And yeah, how we went from AI generated video game to this thing, I have no clue, but it's nonetheless a very interesting topic.
I think it was the idea of things appearing in front of you as it's going. I think that's what kind of translated that topic.
Right. That's exactly the bridge. Yeah.
But I was also.
So
Do you have thoughts on Llama though?
good.
Coming full circle, like
Exactly. I never liked very much Mark Zuckerberg actions. I mean, he's probably genuine himself, but due to the situation, is the things that Facebook has done to the world are not really
he's been
nice.
back. Have you noticed he's been backpedaling in the last few weeks, like coming out with, "We were suppressed. We were told that we had to put this out. Like we were compliant with the
Yeah, probably
Biometric."
he had a moment of like change, go on there. But the present that he's giving to the world with his llama, it costs a fortune of money to train those models. It's not something that goes cheap. Then you can run the
After
model in your computer, because the
after
cost of
that
AI is the
failure,
training.
after that failure of their, their world that they created, that what, $10 billion.
of the metaverse. You mean?
Yeah, yeah,
See, gives you the idea how much hype can affect people. Like
Apple
go
too. Apple became.
wonder. Yeah, but because they didn't want to be outside the game, Apple arrived always 5 years later. Which Apple is the Internet Explorer of tech company, if you want. Maybe
Wow.
beautiful, but like arrives very late on things. And I am an Apple user and a fanboy. I buy the Vaco from Apple. But on the other side, if I have to be honest, technical specs that are kick-ass are out on all the other device. Apple arrived to that way, way, way
Yeah,
late.
that's why.
When
Yeah,
people
yeah.
turn
Real,
around, they say,
real,
"What?"
real nerds love androids. Trust me, I know.
Well, but see, there is a thing, like my late mom. My mom died a couple of years ago. She was 90 plus. She enjoyed her life,
Sorry
so
about
she
that.
had a very good time. No, it's okay. I mean, like she really, I would put my signature to live life like this. She really enjoyed this time, that you have to do in this planet. But she told me indirectly a lot of very cool stuff. For example, once I go to her house to visit her, and she was wearing the T-shirt with all the sewing part outside. So I said, "Look, you have your T-shirt inside out." She says, "No, this thing is so uncomfortable. Why I want to have it in my skin?" you know, and it's true. If you think about the comfort of it, you put it with the swing outside, so your skin stay on the smooth side of the shirt. We don't do it because it can be judged as wrong, right? So sometimes the take on things can change in the moment that. If you look what is coming to the hype of the metaverse and Apple coming out with the things later because they don't want to be left out and says Apple never did something, they did these glasses, three people buy them and they are gone. Think about Google Glasses. Google Glasses were a real good step ahead, and I think that the army took over it and made them illegal to sell to the public because there is no other reason that those things disappear out of nowhere. Everybody wants.
Damn. Can
Sometimes
you imagine the people that got that prototype?
I have a lot of friends that have them, and
Were they
for what they
good?
can
Were they?
use it. Well, yeah, were they okay? Yes, absolutely. I mean, to be at the beginning of a road to follow, they were amazing. Now there is the Ray-Ban from the
Oh
Meta
yeah,
is doing.
those
But
are
this
pretty
is an
tight.
audio interface, huh?
Those are pretty cool. I think, what are they called?
Sorry,
Like the X something two. I'm not sure what model we're talking about
I
here.
have friends that have that too, and they say they're fun. You can interact, you can take pictures, but you don't have a visor, so you cannot do augmented reality looking through those glasses. And the augmented reality is the gateway to metaverse.
Mhm.
Metaverse. I said something terrible.
No, I know what you mean.
Augmented reality is the gateway to full VR immersion. Okay,
Yeah.
if we don't adopt augmented reality, hardly we're gonna adopt the full VR immersion unless I'm doing flight simulator, but it starts and ends. If I have to do something that I can go around every day, I need to have my glasses, and these glasses need to have the capacity to intercept something around me and put an overlay with information, with whatever.
So in the last week, I think, is when Apple announced that they're discontinuing, or they're moving on, like they're discontinuing the Vision Pro. So what are your thoughts on that
Hmm.
specifically, though? Like, we just talked about how they're late to the game, but then to be like, well, this wasn't what we thought.
But they had to do it. Sometimes in large company like this, pivoting, changing, having the courage to shut down something is not something you can do so dynamically. So something put in motion in a certain way before you stop the motion of it. So what are the risks to declare a failure? To what are the risks to say we didn't succeed? Then okay, say, look, we succeeded, but we understand there is no market for this now. They remove like the iPod Touch, for example. I own 5, 6 iPod Touch. They're amazing piece of engineering. Is a full cell phone if you want without being cell phone, super light, and
Very quick, super
this is
fast too.
yeah, they were amazing. Like so when you go traveling around, you just connect to Wi-Fi. You can buy one of those pocket Wi-Fi,
It's almost
and then
nice
you're
being limited, right? Because of the speed. You're so much faster on whatever you're doing.
No, out of the market, removed. They don't sell it anymore because rather you buy yourself a cell phone. So sometimes I don't know. I think the possibility to create your own hardware is going to be the next being software developers.
Ooh,
AI remove software developer from
shit.
the enigma,
Well,
but people is going to start building
well,
their own
you're
open
having
source
me
hardware for doing things.
because you had me wondering, like, we're talking about 3D modeling getting super cheap at that point. AI making your console, it could probably engineer all the schematics. Like, here's how you would make it. Here's your game system. Boom. You know what I
Right.
mean? Can you imagine that?
I think that
It's
to the
already here.
extent that there is control of devices, there is going to be the possibility to do a lot better.
I
And
think,
yeah, I think
dude, they'll justify $2,000 gaming systems once they realize, oh, we'll just pack this and make it super. Like, gaming with AI is going to advance to another level, don't you think? Like, levels of immersion we haven't seen.
I think that everybody is gonna have their own AI device, like that does the whatever, I think it makes sense to embed it in the cell phone now. Maybe tomorrow is gonna be more important than the cell phone, or the cell phone become part of what this AI device can do for you. Is eating the other way around. There's no more. Think apps. In the moment AI can create any application you need in the moment that you need it, you don't need to have app installed in your phone anymore. You just need AI, and you say, "Look, I need a calculator. Here is the calculator. I finish using, throw it away, and then tomorrow." So it's just the storage of data is important. But even
Do you think,
a phone
do you,
book, a cal,
do you think storing biometric data is ethical?
it depends. For what reason and for what purpose. Collecting them without authorization. See, those are
Well, I
sort of
mean,
things that.
everyone's agreeing without knowing what they're agreeing to, so that's not an argument, you
Correct.
know?
That's the point. But the fact is that there is. See, I give you another a word strip if you want. What is trusted technology or trustless technology? Now, if I have a switch
Mm,
old style in my
that's
wall
a
to
good
turn off the
question.
yeah, no, if I switch in my wall that turn off the light bulb on the ceiling and is a physical interruption of an electric cable, okay, I don't need to trust anything. I know that this stop electricity, go to the light bulb and it's gonna make dark, or get the electricity is gonna make on. This is something that I know that it does this. But in the moment I turn off a switch in the screen of my phone, as a piece of software, it can give me the illusion that it turned off something. In reality, is not turned off. I need to trust the computer to the cell phone, in the case of the person that did the software, to actually do the action of turning off whatever service I'm saying. Turn off Wi-Fi. Sure thing, turn off. Turn on the camera. Oh, the light doesn't turn on anymore. Who tells me the camera is off for real? Unless I unplug it. You know what I mean? So now we move to a world where everything is based on the trust that it does what it's telling you to do. That is doing,
Hmm.
sorry. So I and in a world where you say it's ethical to collect biometric, who says that they don't even the moment that they can't? You know what I mean? What control do you have? And if you start going around with a hat with all the LEDs on top to make your head look like a white balloon so they cannot camera cannot take information on you, then you are immediately a subject of interest because there's something wrong. You are something. So
What you're
it
trying to
is
say is if the urinals have cameras, we may never know.
for sure, and not much you can do about it. You can what you do. You discover, you sue the things, but if he's a private person that is a perverted, then it's okay. You sue it. If it's the government that is actually tracking whatever they want to, or large private company work with governments, is a lost battle actually. And
Yeah, it's
so
like
there are many
you
things
stepped
they
on our grounds anyway. That's their argument always, right?
correct. And and the technology is there since decades ago, and super efficient. When Facebook start rolling out the biometric to recognize whose people is in photos so you can tag them, now it's disabled this thing, but in the past we're just giving you the name of the people. I was at at the show. There were cars that were doing stunt things, and there was my family. So I walked toward the fence, giving the shoulder to the show, and took a picture of all the public. Must have been like 600 people, whatever it is, because my family was there in the middle. I published this thing in Facebook, and suddenly I had 500 options to tag people with their names, because the biometric recognized them. And maybe
Wild.
these people were just,
That's
it's crazy. I
wild.
mean, like when it comes, and the fact that you don't see these tags anymore doesn't mean that they don't do it,
Yeah.
And you think you don't have a Facebook account, but there is a picture with me and I tag you. Then you take a picture with somebody else and they tag you. Biometrically, you are the same person. Suddenly, even you never had a Facebook account, so you never agreed not to be or to be. You never opt out of it or whatever. But
It's
your
crazy.
biometrics are treated. So there is no escape from this thing unless we go around
Yeah.
with balaclava. And even if we,
And the only reason I'm asking is because this came up in my own inventions. Like somebody was like, "Hey, you might not want to do that." This was a long time ago, and I was like, "Why does it matter?" And then I was like, "All right, I guess." And then now you're telling me this, and it's like people people know obviously what they may collect on the back end, what's not up front, but can you imagine the value of that data? Damn, to know
oh,
people's real
absolutely.
like habits and behaviors on another level. Do you remember the television? I don't know if it was Vizio was watching like what consumers were like buying and
Watching,
grabbing
yes.
products and things like that.
Mhm.
Imagine the targeting data on that. They already know what you like.
I tell you something even more scary, because if it's done for marketing purposes,
Or
whatever.
cars. Or
If it's done
cars.
to profile me, because huh?
Cars also, right? Cars are listening to you too.
Yeah, like the classic things that your phone, you talk about dog treats and you see the advertisement about the treats. Is not a legend, it's a fact. But I did a work with the marketing company, and practically they purchase data from credit card company, from everything. So when they profile a user, they know where they go shopping, at what time of the day they go shopping, so the most detailed things. And they have the biometric of these people as well. I don't know if you ever enter like a shopping mall and there is this huge television with an advertisement. There is a micro camera that if your biometric recognized, the advertisement show is tailored on you. So you think you're just walking next to a billboard with an advertisement that is randomly there. It's not randomly there. This is an advertisement that is made for you. And
Wow.
based on how much you can spend, based on what is your taste, etc. And it is for marketing still pretty much
I was
okay. Even it's
I was actually talking about how the future is going to be super, super personalized marketing like that, where every moment's going to feel
correct.
like, oh, wow, that song is for me. Just how you're saying that. You walk by a billboard, oh, that advertisement knew you were approaching.
Hmm.
Is
But
that
this,
is that
the
where
movie
is
I
that where we're
watched,
getting
the
to?
musical is absolutely, and and these are the strange, no, not so beautiful side. But on the other side, things about education, where a kid has a customized teacher. They teach based on the kid taste, make it fun. Now a teacher has 40 kids in a class and they need to go to the average speed, leaving behind the slowest kid and boarding up the fastest kids, right? And it becomes a failure anyway. Teachers don't are not needed anymore. This today technology, parents that decide to homeschool their kids, open ChatGPT and says today we do math, and mathematics is gonna be taught in the way that the kids
And
sitting in front. ChatGPT can
can
ask what you like. I
understand it.
like soccer. Okay,
Well, it
huh?
could also be like his understanding isn't the grade level. Like
Absolutely. So
it
you
could
make it
adjust it.
challenging to the correct level. If the kids is in love of
This is
soccer or
this is what
football,
I'm
whatever you
not
wanna call it,
understanding. Yeah.
he's gonna use the topic of interest of the kid to teach geography. These soccer players come from this country. You know what it is? This country. Find it in the map. No, I mean you don't like this player. You love it. So the country is here. Remember, and you go through the means to get to an end without going straight to the end, making it annoying, boring. So there are a lot of positive effects that all this technology is going to bring to us as well. But Yeah, is interesting. Regulating it, I think, is a lost battle.
The other thing I think of is when we're thinking about things we can't see. This one gets me real mad. Geofencing.
Uh-huh. Nice. Again, if it's done in your own property, you're free to do what you want, right? If it's done in a term of a city, you know how many, when you go through important road, there are some small columns, small boxes in the middle of the road. They intercept all the Bluetooth MAC addresses. So
Wow.
everybody that goes by, airport is full of this thing, all the airports. So they follow people along large areas inside a single country or city or
I
like
mean,
this. So they
I
know that.
I guess it deters like real crime though, like real big plots and whatnot. You can actually track
But
what's
you know
happening.
what is the sad? You know what is the sad part? That who has the money to do these things? Marketing. People that want to sell. You think the law enforcement is funded enough to come out with such things? So unless it is a counterterrorism, unless it's something that is
Say it
of
ain't
a national
so.
interest,
That's the
but
saddest shit
you
ever.
know,
Oh my gosh. Here I am
we have this illusion the law
hopeful that it's
enforcement
being
are,
good. Wow.
yeah. So then maybe the law enforcement can go to the marketing company and say, yeah, give me the data that I need for an investigation, probably, But we have this fake idea of the law enforcement being like a Terminator level of technology. They need to catch up as well, and they suffer the same problem that everybody else suffering, staying up to date. With the difference that the law enforcement need to follow the law. Criminal don't have to follow the law. As part of the job description in both sides, if you want, right? Criminal that follow the law is not a criminal by definition. The law enforcement, they have to do everything by the rules, else is not valid what they do. So they fight a battle in a level of difficulty. Then there is a lot of bad ones. They're violent and crazy. I mean, like as everywhere, there is bad people. And I think maybe I compromise myself, but I think the United States is suffering a huge problem with the law enforcement that step outside their own, limits on behavior. But for one bad, there is 100 that are good or 1,000 that are good. So I don't want to say everybody's like that.
Super true.
But the tools that they have are limited. So sometimes it must be frustrating, I guess.
I mean, we haven't really talked about challenges, but what comes from challenges by using Copilot, generative AI? What are the real? Is it all just convenience? Do you know what I mean? Like, and is the future just talking to AI? Is that what's coming?
I I think that relying too much without using your brain for something. Like I had a discussion this morning with my wife. She does a product for spa, like a cream beauty product like this, and she's doing also some a video to show people how to make this thing at home, etc., etc. Obviously, ChatGPT is a huge helper for this thing. So she queried ChatGPT, can you prepare me a script to do something like this? ChatGPT output the script. She copy and paste without reading it.
Oh
And it
no.
was wrong because the question was posed incorrectly. So, we need to pay attention about these things. So those are tools, but we cannot rely 100% on those tools
True.
because we cannot rely 100% on ourselves. Maybe the
So true.
ChatGPT gave the right answer, but the question was wrong. So the outcome is not
And
what you
and
want. You need.
and now when I approach people, I let them know that I'm using it, and I'm like, "Yo, yes, I used AI, but I know the value of your opinion still, so I still need your help to validate what I'm doing." You know?
You know what upset me a lot? Now there are these tools to detect if you use an AI to write a piece of text, right? But let's say, and I understand the need of these things because I can ask ChatGPT to create from zero without saying anything. But
Mhm.
if I write my piece and my grammar is crap because my language, the first language is Italian, and then I use ChatGPT just to correct the grammar to make it fluent, the content is mine. I just making it in a nicer form for you to read. You
That's what I'm
cannot point the
saying.
finger back to me. This
I
is made
agree.
with ChatGPT, but it's ChatGPT just made the grammar nice. What the
And
content,
I
the concept
you
come from me.
I think about this a lot because I send a lot of emails, and then when I don't get a response, I'm like, do they realize I took a lot of time to tailor that to them? Like I
Right.
really spent, like I know it's formal, but I got all of my thoughts out, concisely too.
That's exactly. So my point is what you're looking at. You're upset because I write a good English with the help of the ChatGPT, or you are afraid that the content is not genuinely mine, wrapped in a
Ooh,
nice paper,
that's a
and
good
this
ass
has to be
point.
a big understanding because it's so easy to filter something and say, AI, and point a finger. And maybe the content has a huge value. I'm a
Loved it.
consultant. You pay me a lot
I
of money. I
loved
tell
it.
you what to do, and rather than give bad grammar. In fact, and I paid, and I throw them down the toilet. I paid a yearly subscription to a website that makes each text created by AI not recognizable as AI. You know what it does? It kills the grammar. He makes such horrible mistake. He takes your beautifully written text and he makes all the mistake that irritates me when I read a piece of text written like this,
Wow,
because AI wouldn't do this grammar mistake, so it cannot be AI. But it
dude,
embarrassed me to send a text written like this. You know what I mean? So what? Why something is
it,
written
it
correctly?
makes
Then
me
is a
think. It makes me think of the people who are like super dismissive too, because I've worked for people who like find one thing in my research
and
that's like
then and
a
then
source
yeah.
that, yeah, some source
But
they don't agree with, some bias that they, and everything else is
look,
discredited. But also peer review. Think about peer review in the future when I'm using all the consolidated white papers of other people's research. But you're gonna tell me my work is whatever, I need someone
all
else
right.
above me to validate. Like all I'm doing is finding commonalities and patterns, it's already data that's out there.
Right. People need to mature into understanding how the landscape is changing and what is to be judged well or bad. If you do it when you're ignorant, you end up judging something in a wrong way, right? So
Yeah.
the maturity in being able to do the judgment has to grow with the tools that are there.
That is interesting though, to think that, oh, someone's using AI, like I caught them, discredited them, when it's like it's the literal opposite. They're innovating, they're finding new ways to speed up the process to get things done. And that's what's
Absolutely.
interesting about pushback is you're developing these things to speed up the process while people are like, is this real? Is this legit? Questioning it. It's like that's defeating the purpose completely.
See, I think school they forbid the calculator when calculator came out. No, I mean, like, use the calculator, like how we're going to become all stupid. No, we become better. I give always this example, the autocorrect. When autocorrect came out, we're going to never learn grammar anymore. It's going to kill the capacity. No. If I get autocorrected 3 times,
Oh my god.
next time I'm going to write it correctly because I don't like to be corrected. So I see,
And
I make this mistake 1, 2, 3, then I don't make it anymore. So it's a tool
and
to be better.
and rock music is gonna make you turn to the devil too.
Well, in video games are gonna make you like a shooter. No, but obviously, there was this beautiful, the one of the video games that cracked me up so much. Somebody came out with this very stupid fake letter of this very religious organization where this guy went crazy and says, "I am the Pac-Man," and start eating people around like this
Wow.
because impersonating yourself in a game that is not violent at
Yeah.
all. But you joke in the UK. They made it illegal for Tom and Jerry and Lode Runner to be shown because
Wow.
teach the kid that you can smash the cooking stuff on top of somebody else without damages. It's a cartoon. I grew up.
Subconscious.
You didn't need to tell me when I'm 4 years old and watching this cartoon that this is bad. It's a fucking cartoon, right? And
Don't
makes me
speak
think:
for
is the
us.
exactly the Acme company be sued in court for millions of dollars of
Oh,
damages? No, I mean, like, common sense will win. It concerns me that you need to forbid something because you think your population is so now smart that you know.
you're taking advantage of our susceptible population.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Insane.
That's
But yeah,
hilarious.
exactly correct.
Ethereum successfully transitioned to proof of stake, drastically reducing energy consumption. What are your thoughts?
Mm. Look, I been part of a layer 1 proof of stake in 2014. So that's 10 years ago. So what can I
You're
say?
like, that
But
ship has sailed.
this
Yeah,
is
but
Apple coming out with the vision. You know what I mean? There are
oh
so
yeah,
much
yeah, yeah.
better
That's
system,
a
the
good
proof
ass
of stake
point. That's
today
a
that
good
you can
point.
use. You know what I mean? So,
Super good
but you know,
comparison.
better than proof of work. Proof of work is so dangerous when it can be attacked unless you're Bitcoin. Proof of work is not a protocol you want to use because look, Ethereum Classic has been attacked in double spending so many times. A lot of other blockchain they use proof of work. They are not big. You know, it's easy to hire 20 minutes of hashing power to rewrite a huge chunk of a blockchain
So,
that's very low hashing power.
do you
You know,
think they just have further plans down the road that this is just like a little bump, like to catch up? Like maybe they're thinking way further down the road, or are they just behind?
see, think about this. This is one of the lessons when you learn coding for decentralized systems. You cannot shut it down. Like if I have a coded Microsoft Word per se, and I want to add a functionality, I code my functionality, I start Word, I see it's working well, I take it off, I code, and but if I have a live environment and I cannot shut it down, and I need to change something, it's super complicated because you need to remain backward compatible for the data collected before, and you need to be working with those as well. You need to, so every
Ooh.
advancement requires so many different checks and is so difficult. In fact, it's blessed somebody that can start a new layer 1 protocol today that has a all new system and it would never be compatible with something much older. But starting, I think Ethereum started in 2015, something like that, 2015, 2016, 15, 14, 15, those years there. And so they had a package on the back that they need to still support, you know what I mean? So shifting to a different technology is not easy, but
Here's moving on to a little conspiracy here, because would you say it's possible if we were trying to get on to another currency that some of these worldwide shutdowns could have something to do with something like that? Like, because you're talking about how hard it is to reverse a
mm.
code or to go back and fix something. Is it possible that a shutdown could be, moving us on to some other ledger? Or I'm just trying to think of an example of how blockchain could be incorporated into a transition for a shutdown. Is that a possible thing?
I'm not sure 100% I understand your question. When you say shutdown, you mean shutdown of
Like,
technology or
yeah. Because if we're talking about upgrading a certain system, right? If we
mm,
wanted to put everyone on
mm,
like a US dollar, a digital one, for example, is it possible
mm,
that that could be happening within a shutdown and we wouldn't know it?
what, what do you mean shutdown? Sorry,
Like
I don't
okay, no,
understand
no, no.
the
Do you remember how there's been outages worldwide, like recently? Like whether it's internet
mm-hmm.
services and things like that. Like that's what I'm
Okay.
trying to get at.
No,
Is it could it be planned? Is what I was trying to get at. Could those things be
no,
planned
but
outages?
the internet itself, the architecture of internet is made to be impossible to shut it down completely, right? And peer-to-peer network, if are distributed correctly, you
Hmm.
can shut down half of it, half remains there. Pretty much they survive everything, right? So, the TCP/IP, the protocol for the internet is there. So to find the route around, so you cut a cable, it goes around automatically, it get to destination. So, and blockchain peer-to-peer network are also set to survive. And if they are created to cluster, when they come back together, they reorganize to be one again. Depends on the protocol how it's written, but pretty much they survive this thing. So I don't think and there are different and so many that it is impossible as of today to say stop all of them. You know what I mean? It's clear to me that something was happening with Bitcoin. There was an update that nobody agreed on, that was forcefully put in, and in fact, as soon as they released it, it crashed the network. But thank God, the majority of the network didn't make the update, so it
Hmm.
survived it. And it seems there at the time that this was planned by somebody government-wise to shut down Bitcoin, to kill Bitcoin. But the fact that each node is in the hand of some different person, there's the freedom to update or not, shows the power of it, because it's not all controlled. That's why it doesn't make sense when they do the new blockchain, peer-to-peer, wherever. All our nodes are in Amazon and AWS,
Just
then you're
marketing.
centralized. What's the
Just marketing,
the
basically.
beauty would be if every person had at home his own node in a Raspberry Pi or whatever you want, a small computer, small server, and then you make a network of those. It's impossible. In fact, a blockchain should never run on the same software. There should be many different versions of software, because if there is a fallacy somewhere, you can take down all the nodes. So if you have 10,000 nodes, you have 10 different software.
That makes me wonder your thoughts on Pi, the Pi app, Picoin.
Look, I'm not into the finance aspect and to the technology aspect and protocols that are there. And honestly, not to pollute my thinking, I look into some technology only when I am requested for a job. Anyway, I understand how the system works, so it's easy for me to get into something, because I can come out with very beautiful ideas, innovation and solution, if I don't have the filter of thinking what somebody else did, so I can think like in a blank piece of paper.
Damn,
So
and
ignorance.
what's crazy about that is you'd be surprised how many people can only function off what they're being told to do, right? Like having that ability to create is a whole nother skill.
It started by not going to school, for example. So even when I was in school and I didn't study what I was asked, and then the teacher says, how you find this in geometry? And I find the solution, and she goes like, no, that's wrong. And then 2 days later, she comes, Roberto, you found another way to find these things. It works. I tried the 3 days at home. To me, it was just obvious, right? I follow logic. I follow the aspect. Even my memory, I don't have a memory that I recall events. I need to rebuild them by logic. So if I was there, what I would have done? I would have gone out. Oh, yeah, probably gone out, So I need to follow. My brain is wired in such a way that I follow the logic of things. And more information I collect, the more I tend to follow the logic of the information I collected, right? So to be innovative, to come up with a solution that is novel, I want purity in my brain. So it's important to have the minimum pollution.
Wow. I feel like that about music. It's such a relatable thing. Like I don't listen to music.
120% correct.
Yeah, I don't
If
want
you're a
external
musician and you
influences.
don't listen anything about anybody else, what you do, if it's similar, is a coincidence, but it's genuine in yours. If you spend the day listening to everybody else, even you don't realize, your subconscious is going to spit out something you already heard, So absolutely correct. Actually, that's the best example you can give to this thing.
Damn, that's cool though how the creator mindset translates through different disciplines. You know what I mean?
Coding and engineering invention are an art form. I believe is nothing. They looks very mathematical and things, but it's true is an expression of a capacity, like
Even
composing
more
music.
so. But even more so as we're heading into the future, right? As we're saying, coding is going to be less important. It's going to be all
Right,
about
correct. Exactly. It's
what
going to
you
be all
ask,
about the capacity to architect.
how creative are you?
120%. And in my lifetime, I did the most silly and amazing things. For example, we're doing software for large companies, and we wanted to put art in it. So we work with the important painters locally. They make a painting that when the company buy the software for a lot of money, they also get a painting, and the painting become the navigation system inside the software. So let's say it's a village, you press in a house, and this is all the financial things. You press, there is the marketing aspect,
Cool.
So I
Wow.
did a lot of strange stuff, right, in my life.
That's
But
very video game-ish, you gamify it.
yeah, the gamify the things. That's the idea. I'm talking about 30 years ago. So no things that now can be more obvious. Yeah.
Damn, and to think you were doing that like line by line, you could probably do that with a one request now.
Correct.
Sick. So sick. I don't know. I just love it. I love the aspect of thinking about how far we've come in there.
Yeah, and that project you in the future. how in such a short time we're gonna go to incredible different lengths.
Do you have any thoughts on data centers? These giant, massive, energy
Okay,
consuming.
okay. Okay. No. This. Oh, I'm gonna say something exclusive new that I never said in any other
Oh
podcast because
shit!
most of the time I repeat, which is
Where's
a
my
thought
bell?
that just post
All right,
production.
everyone, you were about to get a
Pay attention.
Roberto Capodieci
Now,
exclusive. Here we go. Let him have it.
think about this thing. The biggest line that is repeated is that processing power is the commodity of the future, but also the present, if you want, in a certain terms. But
Because we're
the
making
commodity of the
requests.
future is processing power, right?
Mhm.
And processing power is what is going to make things work or not work. So go back in time. Think about World War II, for example. During World War II, how you attack and put in its knees a city. You bomb their electric plants, so no more electricity, a few bridges and communication points. You remove these three things, the city is off. Now, one thing, what did the German do? They start transforming the engine of the Volkswagen Beetle as an electricity producer you can have at home, and the electric grid was contributed by every house. So there is no central power to go and bomb, and you will never remove the electricity from my city, okay? Because we all contributed to the city. So you decentralize the production of electricity. Now, if you bring this to the fact that in the future the commodity is, like power of computer power, if you want, the data center is identical to an electric plant. If I want to put in the knees one country, the system that everybody uses, and you consider that data center power transportation, power
It's a
hospital, power.
it's a little different though, because we got armed guards at these data centers, probably.
Yeah. Throw a bomb from an airplane. Wanna see what the armed guard's gonna do? If not, explode with a thing. so,
Continue.
so
Continue.
I don't see that the armed guard doing much. You need to have a counter striking for missiles, but data center become for sure one of the first point of interest to be destroyed to put the country everything is much more than just electricity. So this distributing and decentralizing power, making everybody contribute. So I see like everybody has their own computer at home. My computer is on. Give me money by the end of the day because the processor being running for somebody else as well. And when I use it, I need much more processing power at a certain point. I borrow from the grid. And you can have a supercomputer that is split among many nodes in a network. So this to answer your question about, so a safe future is where decentralization goes not only on the aspect of software, decentralized software, but even in the infrastructure of processing power, of connectivity. If each house is a node of this peer-to-peer network where you can connect to access a server that are inside, there is no more, shutting down the internet or whatever. So if we move to a system that is all decentralized and distributed, we are more safe and we can defend ourselves much better, not only from the enemy from outside the country, but also from the enemy inside the
I guess
country, if you
I guess
understand what
that's
I
a
mean.
good Telegram transition if you want to go in a little detail on it.
Exactly.
We didn't really talk about it.
Look about Telegram. And the conspiracy says that a lot of military operation around the war that is happening are conducted via Telegram because it's not in the hands of the Americans, because WhatsApp is Facebook, right? Signal is the same guy that did WhatsApp, and the server are in the United States. If you think in the past, the BlackBerry cell phone, which is something in motion, I don't remember the company in Canada, was guaranteeing the cryptography of all the communication. in many countries, they did not authorize to have the service of the BlackBerry simply because the country says, unless you leave me the server here, I can see the content. I don't allow you to operate here, okay? So now, if you think the fact that to be able to control content, who says what, censorship, look what happened with the X in Brazil in the past few days. The one judge that is in politics wanted to close other, and because he didn't, now they froze the money of Starlink, probably because X wasn't having offices there. I mean, like, what happened with the Telegram and the fact that Durov landed in Paris and they arrested him is because they accuse him of being accomplice of the crime committed through Telegram, which is crazy because it's like if you say, people make phone calls to organize a robbery in a bank or to commit a crime of any sort. You go and arrest the owner of the phone company because didn't cancel the phone number of the criminals or release the content of a conversation. So it's a little bit strange. Think about Kim.com. Kim.com was the mega upload guy. He was deleting any content that was requested to delete and all, but people were using, which is identical to Dropbox as a service. It's like if I pass to you illegal material and put them in a safety box in the bank. What are you going to do? Shut down the bank and arrest the president of the bank? Understand that that's a service they do. They are not accomplice of the things. But the excuses for France to take the guy and give him 20 years of potential prison terms in France is because by allowing things to happen in his network is an accomplice of the crimes that these people committed with child pornography, with drugs deals, and whatever else. The conspiracy is that France is an instrument of somebody else to ask the encryption keys to access content, conversation, and identity of people for other intent, which are political or related to the war or whatever else, right?
I can't imagine
why
what
this
they
is possible. You remember when Donald Trump has been kicked out of Twitter? Mm-hmm. You think that was a smart decision for Twitter to do because they're politically sided on one part, on the other, like this? Somebody made them do it. So much that the CEO of Twitter started his other company. I have an account in it. It's called Blue Sky.
Yeah, me too.
Sky.app is one-to-one what Twitter used to be, and is decentralized. So if you post something, you're posting in a sort of APFS file system. So you're not nobody. You cannot go to him and says remove this content. Sorry, I have no control of the content. This is decentralized. Go to the guy that posted it, right? Think when there was a Napster, Kazaa to share music and things. They were going to the Napster and Kazaa people, arrest them, or making them pay fine or whatever. As soon as a BitTorrent came out, and it's the moment that I entered the decentralization world, so we're talking about 15 plus years ago, that's the moment that the regulator had to change the law and make it legal to use the system, because you cannot go anywhere to BitTorrent. It is just a peer-to-peer collective of people, so you cannot shut it down. And the system that we use to chat and communicate, they need to be based on peer-to-peer network as well. They cannot depend on a central party that is a human, that when they cut the first finger, second finger, third finger, I give you the codes.
Just to kind of clarify, though, this is deeper than just sharing information, right?
Absolutely. But that's the data, processing power are the currency of the future, right? So information is power,
so
right?
Much more, though, at stake is what you're getting at. Like we're just seeing like, oh, our voice isn't being heard, or we're being censored or silenced, but it's a lot more underneath the surface.
I think that the paradigm has to change from forbidding people to publish something to allowing people to choose what not to see. It goes a lot with the pornography, for example. I don't want to open Twitter and see a lot of porn. I go, but you cannot tell somebody not to publish, because there is a lot of people that is perfectly fine. It is totally legal to pornography is not. There are countries where it is illegal, but like where I'm living. But in most country is perfectly okay. It's a job. Like there was the paradigm, the extreme in the United States where prostitution is illegal. But if there is a camera on and I pay somebody to have sex, that's legal because this is production of pornography, right? So it is interesting how the
So
exact same thing,
crazy.
just with the difference. This goes to regulators, for example. Since that
It's
there is a
it's empowerment.
exactly. No, no worry. What is a crime to filming somebody having sex and publishing online is your way out of prison. Like, no, 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 no. We're not having sex. Yeah, we're having sex, but I'm filming it and publishing it online, which is usually stalking and double crime in other country. That makes it illegal because she's paid as an actress, now as a prostitute,
That's
or the man,
crazy.
whatever it is. But and so the same mechanics apply, right, to the fact that I think the paradigm of the information ownership and the what you want to see rather than what you can publish. There should be no limit to what people can publish, because at the end of the day, they're responsible. If I publish illegal material, they can arrest me. It's illegal. You know what I mean? But you cannot punish
So
the middleman for
doesn't
what the
this
user do.
but doesn't this make the future of exploitation like super like fine line that we're walking now?
I don't see, think about it. Always been that in normal cities there is the police officer, 2 or 3 that walk around the central square. Usually they know everybody, say hello, hello. And if there is somebody that is doing something bad, they go check. Yes, to translate to the online world. Like every airplane that fly, there is some police officer in normal clothing that are there in case of emergency.
Never
Every
thought about that.
server in
Never
Roblox,
think,
huh?
I never think about that, but yeah, it's a good point.
No, it is. They are actually. It's not. No, it's not a secret. Is there is present law enforcement in case of emergency in different location. Online is a location, and the same effort of doing physically presence in a place, they should do it online. And if they see somebody that is their own legislation citizen, for example, like this, commit a crime, go get the guy. But you cannot shut down the internet and put everybody around. So you don't go arrest the guy that invented TCP/IP protocol because people do crime in the internet. Or you don't arrest the president of Oracle because there is a I don't know, like a website that does a crime and they use Oracle as a server. So it's silly to do that.
So
So
I would argue Zuckerberg might be facing the same fate had he not complied with them earlier, you know?
now another thing, if you think, if you want, first I don't think Elon Musk is gonna go to France in any short future because there is no difference between Telegram and X in terms of what
You
is
think
happening
so?
inside. Absolutely. Second,
Damn.
well, what is the difference? You think I was doing a training to law enforcement in a country, I don't say the name, and then after the training, a guy came and we had lunch with 5 hour long lunch chit-chatting, and this guy was there to work on censorship. And he says, how much porn I see every day because I need to block it. Says YouTube is full of porn. I says, what the fuck you say YouTube? There is no porn in YouTube. I never met anything. So you think you have no idea how much there is, and how it's filtered by the country. Funny enough, this is in Facebook as well. And there is child exploitation and everything else. But the business model of some companies is really just to work with the government. When I was working with law enforcement, just to have a one phone line to be tapped in order to be listened for an investigation, the government was paying the phone company something like $500 a day, which is a fortune of money. I think every city has at least 50 lines active every day, you know. So it can become a business model of a company. It says, look,
That's a great
you
point,
give me
dude.
a $1 million a month and you have access to this information because,
Such a good point.
and
Yeah, we're all
so
everyone's
why the
competing
law
for
enforcement will
contact.
shut down a place that is their source of information? So the government themselves let things happen because they have a better interest in keeping, you know what I mean? Take down Facebook, all the criminal move somewhere else, and it's a lot of job and track them down. Like this, you still have the sad part is that this is used politically as well, and that's the crazy
Ah,
thing, if it is to
wow.
fight crime, is okay, but so there are reasons why certain things remain. Think another silly thing: the United States are the central square of the internet. You think Gmail is used only in the United States? Everybody in the planet uses Gmail. Where are the servers of Gmail with all my emailing clear to be read and profiled and whatever you want? In the United
Mm,
States. You think that, I don't know, Nepal has access to the server if they want to read something? No, you know. So why it is, for example, TikTok? Oh my God, the seems is you touch TikTok, you die of whatever sickness the next day, simply because they don't have server in the United States. You know, so there are two
hmm.
points. Holland is the belly button of the internet, is where the major traffic of the internet goes through. And in fact, all the law enforcement from everywhere in the planet have a tap system in Holland to get a copy of the traffic in masses. I'm not talking the interception done is not targeted to one person. This is mass interception, so they just copying all the flow. So the cable go from here to here, they attach them in the middle, and they receive a
Split.
copy, and they process this copy. They are all the packet of data which are processed thrown
You
away, those
know,
that are
in a
necessary. And
in America around COVID times, I didn't realize, but
Mhm.
all these Stingray towers went up, and I remember telling everybody, I'm like, "Look, that wasn't there, that wasn't there." So I used to wonder how many of these like towers for tracking, and I'm
but
sure it's
but
duplicating, splitting signals too. No, the data.
maybe because G5 was getting deployed. 5G is not G5, 5G. 5G, the protocol for 5G compared to 4G is way more convenient and smarter, but doesn't go through the phone company. So if two phones are close to each other, the call goes from one phone to the other without going back to the phone company. So that's why with 5G they can only give you monthly fee, monthly
And
subscription.
if
It's
I'm not
harder to charge
mistaken,
by phone call.
wasn't there something? I remember reading a story about the setup being like a Chinese setup and how it was like all this money wasted.
Well, yeah, the idea was this. In reality, you see the crazy thing. Technology is just technology. If I am the guy that invents something useful, I don't think to all the vaccine that the phone call need to be spied on. I make you so convenient that it use less resources, more efficient, at much higher speed. And to do that, I need to make some choices that are good for the technology, but maybe are bad for all the other things that need to happen behind the scene. And 5G has this huge problem as protocol is much more similar to a peer-to-peer system. It's not really peer-to-peer, but it goes point to point without going back home. Now, if we are even in the same room and I call your cell phone with a 4G, the call goes from me to the phone company, from the company back to you. So they have total access to records. While 5G, no. So in order to spy or intercept the 5G, you need to target the towers. So there is an additional infrastructure. So it becomes more complex. That's why suddenly there was this 5G is bad for humanity. This 5G is not good. In reality, it was not good for the work of intercept. Which, if you think if there is being an homicide, if there is bank robbery, the law enforcement need to do their job to arrest the people. So it's not just to do bad stuff.
On
It's a necessity for law enforcement to work.
on another note, with the Chinese aspect, how much do you feel America entertainment is infiltrated by the Chinese? If you think of TikTok being the number one website.
But also there, if you're a thief and you go to somebody else, sorry, if you're a thief, somebody comes to your house, you're paranoid they're going to steal something from you, right? So if this analogy doesn't answer your question, I think that the paranoia of being spied comes highly to those that are used to spy, and they give it as a given that this is happening. And until they do it, is okay. When somebody else do it to them, it's not okay anymore. So the Five Eyes, the UK, and all the Commonwealth parties that are into this mechanic of helping each other. Also, that is silly. It's illegal to spy in your own citizen, but I can ask you, can you spy in my citizen and give me the data? It's legal. So
In America, yeah, no,
the
I
way
I
that they,
realize America tracks our own citizens more than anyone else, right? Like we have more data on us more than anyone.
it is, and cryptography was considered a weapon of war because of the
Oh,
enigma from the Germans, No, no,
no.
you, you know, but this is a fascinating story. The PGP, the pretty good cryptography, mechanics. It was illegal. They had to publish a book with the algorithm inside, and because of free speech, the algorithm was published as a book. Yeah, you don't know the story. You need to check
That's
it out.
the
It's
type
very,
of
very
shit
interesting.
where I'm like, yo, Bitcoin is a government thing. When you tell me shit like that, uh,
No, 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 believe me. So they had to publish the code in a form of a book because of freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And then the code can be compiled to make the cryptography system that was so illegal before.
oh my
And
god,
this is,
so
uh,
crazy to me. Like we're
yeah, no,
just
no,
like
the
such
United
a
States are
basic
quite
thing,
attentive that people don't do strange things. But also, for example, another accusation against Durov of Telegram is exactly the exporting cryptographic system in country that is illegal because it's mathematical. Somehow, as a human, managed to make mathematics illegal. We already make the English vocabulary illegal. If you say something wrong, you get in prison. Because look at the UK; they are arresting people for posting memes.
yeah.
You post something
It sounds absurd.
in
Wow.
Indonesia, here where I'm living. If you insult somebody in Facebook, you are in the deepest trouble. You can insult them on the road; nobody's there to say I'm a recording. But online, oh my god! I mean, like prison. I'm not joking. So it is
I'll be looking for your
interesting,
posts. I'll be looking for some insults. Like,
and then I send you the picture of them in prison. It is in fact a strange. The regulation are something that are fascinating. How something illegal in a country is completely okay, but
I mean,
cryptography. I
it's
heard
funny though.
about of.
They're trying to be like, be nice. That's it.
Strangely, it's not been nice. I think that there is a funny thing is some law, because you cannot make the law just apply to one person. You cannot make it. I am the politician. I cannot make a law that if you insult me, you go to prison. But if you insult somebody else, you don't. So I need to make a law that I want to use for my own gain, but it has to apply to everybody. In Italy, we had this prime minister Silvio Berlusconi, which was a good friend of all the other strange leader in the world, a character of a person, very funny, that he was going to be arrested. He got elected in 2 days, made a law to make not illegal what he was going to be arrested about. So he was not arrested, but about 5,000 people got out of prison instantly because it was no more the case for them. Because you cannot make a law just for yourself. Uh,
Only with my name,
so
born on this day.
exactly correct. It's quite
That's a
interesting, though, yeah.
good one. Oh man, I'm sure there's weirder laws than that too. What about space exploration and AI? SpaceX continued to push boundaries recently. Any views on how AI and blockchain tech are going to be integrated?
Well, like in everywhere else, I guess that's a much more important place to make sure the calculations are done properly. I think, which was what was the satellite that got lost because they said the measurement in meters, the other thought it was in a
Oh
foot
my!
of yards or inches or whatever,
Or
and
dude,
zoom,
the space station too.
like I
There's
don't know
stuff on the
many.
space station.
Oh my god, the space station. And no, this was like one of those satellites that was supposed to visit whatever planet like this. It totally got lost because of this miscommunication measurement. They say the number, which I remember when I was in school in junior high. I had the teacher from technical design, and when I put the measurement around the figure, I put 6, 7, and I was presented to him and says, what are these 6? Are potatoes, carrots, centimeter? Okay, centimeters. Because, and this is exactly the teacher they didn't have at NASA when they made this mistake. And now Boeing is oh my God, that's another interesting aspect, how not caring, not having concern, not caring generates such a huge set of disasters. I would be, if I was the president of the company, I would be digging a hole to disappear from the planet, because they start with airplane losing the door when they fly. I mean, this is also bad luck, but then the whistleblower, they die one after the other as soon as they say something, And then now they left the astronaut stuck in
I'm like,
space for
you think he
months.
checks his own plane? He probably checks his own plane before he takes off, right?
probably he's gonna fly with some other company.
Yo, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one. Major layoffs across major tech companies, Meta and Amazon. What do you think the underlying causes are?
They're using AI. No, I mean, I think
Well, that's what's messed up. Is everyone's making record
there are
profits.
waves of. I think the enthusiasm that push company to invest, particularly in some kind of expansion, some new whatever, like everybody metaverse like this, and then realizing it's going nowhere. It created this wave of hiring and firing, hiring and firing.
But
Truth is also that the new generations are difficult to work with, and I was talking about this with others. There is this difference in personality, in attitude, that probably is okay between each other, but when there is a gap of generational gap between the two parties, is very hard. So large company unfortunately cannot vet one candidate each one, so they go by some standards. You came out to university with this title, you had this experience, whatever. So the one that arrived there many times are in reality horrible people in terms of personality, in terms of no personality is meant as characters, and then in the long term they make project fail or they're gonna be laid off, I think.
it made me
But
think, even with AI, there's going to be companies that are making major decisions, spending billions, million, however much money, and still they're going to be behind. They're going to be last out of all of the other AI companies. There's still going to be a failure one, right? Like they're not all going to succeed.
this is part of the natural things of I mean, you cannot everybody to
But
run in parallel. There
yeah,
must be somebody first, somebody late.
exactly. But it's just crazy that even with making the best decisions, there's still a loser.
It's just when you saturate something, it's saturated because too many people are participating into it. Too many, at the end, part of it. Like if you put sugar in a glass of water, you can mix as much as you want, but as soon as you add too much sugar, there is gonna be sugar on the bottom at the end.
That's a good
And
one.
this
Like that
goes
one.
for you like it or not, when too many are. And to damage, sometimes this damage the good quality participant of things. Like if you think about blockchain, when
Ooh, that's like
blockchain
music.
came out,
It's just like music. I'm sorry. It's just like music.
it's
Saturated.
always
Can't
go back
stand
to
out.
there. But
Now we don't know what AI bot is good anymore, right? And they're all the same.
yeah, but also the participant into one aspect. For example, blockchain comes out. I am one of the few, and everybody comes to me, and I can provide a certain quality. I really know the things bottom up. Then a lot of guys dress up with a nice suit, with a very good sweet talking, but zero technical capacity, come out. But because people is incapable to judge by quality of the
Ooh,
product, they judge for what they know how to judge. The guy looks good, he knows how to talk, he's secure, he's gonna do a good job, and then he
such a
doesn't.
good point, dude.
So
Because the way, no,
hypes,
this is so good. The
you
way you're
know,
dressed, same. I dress the same. I
yeah.
love it.
Look, when I started my first serious business, I was 18, so I was toward the end of the first company, but I was closing big deal. I made so good money that I had a nice Mercedes SL Cabrio to go around. When I was showing up to clients with a car, and dress up and very secure of myself. They wouldn't even read the contract; they just sign it.
Oh my
That,
God.
as if that represented the quality of my job. You know what I mean? Humans are strange. In fact, it would be nice if
Perception.
the question now is going to be posed to AI. Should I hire this or that based on what you see online or what you find online?
Perception
And have
for
a
sure.
very good.
Dude, it's so true
I
because
think the best HR is going to be AI and not human, for example. No,
might
seriously.
be right. Might
HR are the most dangerous department in a company, the most dangerous. You really need to find the ethical, or they are just operational, so just account the salaries. But if they're
yeah.
in HR about in terms of hiring, in positioning, giving promotion, deciding the bonus, oh my God, is the center of corruption. You discover that the new employee is actually the cousin of the other cousin, the merit given to somebody that doesn't deserve. It
A lot
is
of nepotism.
really a dangerous, and they control the people. You don't have unions in a certain terms, but an HR that is very influential with all the employee can tell the story that they want and can make people move out in blocks. So another company need to open. They go to the HR, say, "Look, you provide me 10 of the best people. I give you $500,000." And has to say, "Sure." So
Wow,
you
that's good.
replace HR with AI. It's not
Competition.
corruptible. Hey, give me the good people. I give you a new NVIDIA card to power you. The AI says, "Okay, man." I mean,
Man. I mean, honestly though, it would give me a little more help, or not help, but hope. I mean, in the sense of like you said, a level playing field earlier, right? AI with an HR, that'd be a good outcome.
yeah, I do think that a model that is programmed, if you want, because coded is not going
For
to be the word
with
anymore.
strict,
Program and prompt.
hard to follow DEI standards to the T.
Exactly, correct,
All my
exactly.
pronouns, all of my pronouns.
That one is individual, right? That's the beautiful thing. I receive a CV that says my pronouns are such and such, and that throw it away. There was a very beautiful comic said that there was the HR, and in the HR in the table has a pile big like this of CVs. He take half of them and throw them in the trash and says, "I don't want to hire unlucky people." Like
Oh my God.
as a term of
Wow.
those are unlucky, being thrown away. So you are defining them as such
Yo, that's a
immediately,
good
and there's
one
an
though.
absolute
That's dude, you could put a yes or no question on that. You know, a little survey. You consider yourself lucky, automatically
exactly.
qualified.
Well, your CV has
That's a
been
good
thrown
one.
away, so you're not. But yeah. So probably it's going to be do a better work than humans. So wherever emotion should not have a point of selection, it AI is going to do a better job than humans,
Uh
undoubtedly.
introduction to Ordinal's protocol on Bitcoin. Any thoughts? Layer 2 scaling?
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't want to say something wrong, but in what terms? So expand a little bit and then I can give you my opinion.
um solutions on Ethereum. So how do you see these innovations shaping the future of decentralized finance? Like what challenges might they present?
One more time. The beauty of DeFi, for example, I is the day that I saw somebody posting. This is not Lambo. Everybody's with crypto goes for Lamborghini to the moon. Lambo.
Mhm.
But I purchased the family car thanks to a loan with DeFi. I gave to guarantee the other token and I paid it back monthly. I didn't have to fill in any form. I didn't have to appear
Wow.
to be rejected. I just did it. I paid it off and it's worked fine. I have my car now. And I thought, in the day that somebody like my mom can access this service because the interface is secure and is simple and obvious, then the financial institution need to be scared. They shouldn't be scared about Bitcoin because Bitcoin is something they can sell as well. Tomorrow
So
that is
you're
legalized,
saying
you go to the bank
when it's easily user friendly and more accessible, that's the threat, huh?
and secure. Yeah. because now there are no methods to secure. When you go to a website like Uniswap, do you know that you're in the authentic website? You need to trust. This is go back to the switch. You need to trust that the software does what you expect it to do. I saw a lot of people losing quite a lot of money just because they make the identical website. When you search with Google rather than type in the domain name yourself, the first website is the advertised one, which is the one from the criminals. You click, it looks exactly like always. You connect your wallet, you think you're transferring to somebody, you're transferring to the criminals, and so it's already because with a bank it's much more difficult to steal money. You need to be like a man in the middle between the bank website and the victim.
You're so right
With
though.
crypto is much easier.
I can think of the emails I've had to open, and I'm like, God, who would send me? I have to go to the email. I'm like, oh, it's not even real. Like, it looks so good. I'm like, there's no way. How did this even get through my spam filter?
Right. But so I guess that for the DeFi world, crypto world like this, is still for few people. As of today, is still for people that can do those extra steps in understanding the mechanics. There are a lot of people working to make it easier. But in the moment that, because on one side, culturally, people grow closer to the concept of cryptographic signature, private
And
keys, seeds,
and
etc., etc.
yeah, and
And
people
on the
don't
other
want to
side,
learn it.
they're made easier to.
The fact that people don't want to
As I
learn
was
it, right?
telling you before, people don't want to change the way they work. As simple as it is, people don't want to change the way they work. And so, if you give them something that is amazingly good but very, very complex to change to, people don't. In the moment they is identical to what they were using before, then they adapt it, or they need to grow out of it toward the new system. It's a slow
Man,
process.
which I mean, you talked about earlier how important it is to just build your own proof of concept, right? That's a hard thing for people to accept, I think. Even for me, we were talking about how sometimes you just literally have to go around and build your own and make your own ideas. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just crazy to think about.
it's good. I mean, and it's an honest way to proceed as well, because if you're only selling an idea for money and then you can now make the idea become true, at least ethically you're in trouble. Maybe non legally, non financially, but ethically you are. If you come to you and says, "Oh, give me $500,000, we do this thing that wow," you're saying, "Oh my God, here is the money," and then I go like, "Oh, I have no idea how to do it," and believe me, because the geek that know how to do the thing has zero social skill to go ask $500,000 to somebody. Usually they are not the same
So
person,
true.
and
So damn
the
true. I love
investor has no capacity to recognize the real talent who can actually do. But mostly because the investor does not care that you do your product. They want to come in early and sell out at 10x, 5x later. Even if you fail, they don't care. They want to make money. That's it.
super
So
good
they have
because
to have
you honed in
yeah,
on the importance of delegation earlier too. That was a big topic we talked about.
right. So I think that in the next future we remove a lot. That's the beautiful view. A lot of obstructing actors in the processes of things. The developer, the things that without him you cannot do anything. So he's holding you by your private parts, if you want.
Yeah,
Is gonna be gone. The advisor that can tell you something stupid because it's stealing your money, you counting on the fact you don't understand. You cannot do that anymore because write it down. Hey, ChatGPT, this is good or is BS? It's BS. Okay, bye bye.
it made me think too about Elon. Do you have any thoughts on just AI moderating content? Is there really an ethical problem with that one that you see coming?
No, it's perfect. It's a good system, but the moderation is what is moderated. That's the point, right? So and with which quality of so what you want to moderate basically. And again, one more time, in the ideal freedom country, the real one freedom, you could choose to see whatever you want. You could choose to see illegal content and then get in trouble with the law, get arrested. So the moderation should be customized on the person. Like, if there are naked women, show me only the blonde one. I don't like brunettes. I don't know. That's how I moderate the content for me, for example. You know what I mean?
Know
That's
my
okay as a
preferences.
moderation.
You're like, I gave you my data
Exactly.
for a
No, but
reason.
that's people should have the choice to do whatever and get in trouble if they do something wrong, because you need to be responsible to your country laws and respect them.
What
But not
about
because somebody has an idea, it should be imposed on everybody else.
what
Because you
about
go to
when
the
there's
extreme. Look what happening with the kids that are going to be transitioning other sex, and the parents are arrested if they don't allow the
I was
12 years old
literally
kid
about to
to
make a
be
joke.
go through an operation. That's insane. Like, I cannot capacitate myself. I don't give a baptism to my own kids because I wait they're 18. They can choose the religion they want. They want to be atheists or not. It's their own choice. You cannot baptize a 3 months old kid. He has no means to say, no, I disagree with his religion. I'm actually another religion. I don't. So, can you imagine doing a surgery? You don't let them get a tattoo because they are too young to decide about a tattoo, but you let them go through hospital. I don't know.
Also,
But
no, but
the crazy thing is, what is legal or not legal doesn't mean this right or wrong. There's a
yeah,
big
yeah, we
difference
were talking
between the
about
two
that.
things.
Yeah. I was thinking though how impressionable people are though. Like, can you imagine if females all found one hair color or style was super popular? AI is going to exacerbate that on another level. And now there's just one style of person trying to meet the needs of. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think trends are going to be
Uh,
exacerbated even more so.
it's already happening. I mean, open Instagram and you realize that there is a copy and paste of. Instagram is really the place for monkeys,
Oh
and
man.
everybody. Now think about it. Is this TikTok, right? Instagram? Those are exactly monkey see, monkey do, without putting a minimum of brain cells. It's fun. I'm okay. I'm not judging. That's my opinion. People is free to do what they want. They even make more millions. There is they say, if a tree fall in the forest, does it make sound if nobody's there to listen? If there is no Instagram, is the girl a model or not anymore? Because there is no more Instagram
Wow.
to support their
No
job.
more photos.
Are you influencer or not? Because right. So it is a real aspect
That's
of
a good ass point because
brain that are limited. Like.
you just made me realize, are you an influencer if you have no influence without social media?
Right? That's a good question. No, but that's exactly the point. You are a constructed persona, you are built the image of yourself, or you are actually in the community, in the society, be somebody that people go to because they need
Damn,
absolutely.
that was so good. AI and consumer products. What are your thoughts on like Gmail
Hmm.
adopting that? Have you seen that one?
Oh man, I'm using heavily in many other things. Now there are plugins, and now it's not natively, but they're gonna do natively. I will still trust the plugins rather than the native one because at least it's my choice and not. But we go back. I'm sending somebody an email. Grammar is not the best of my skills because it's not my language, because I wasn't going to school very often. But my brain is powerful and my ideas are good. This give me the capacity to send the content in a way that is understandable and,
Yeah.
and easier to read. What is important that the concept, the idea doesn't come out from the AI or come out from me. I
Yeah, that
was I was using the new prototype of Photoshop, and I generated the background of an image because there is to fix the things. It's beautiful, these generative things. You have a picture of the mountains. There is car parks. It's gonna remove the car, and he's building the grass behind, guessing it because obviously it
mhm.
cannot. But probably there was something. And then when you save the image, says I am watermarking this image as AI generated. So I'm just fixing one small corner of the picture. Why you are watermarking this thing since that the whole picture is generated, And
Wow.
those are the things like content written by AI. No, I mean, the content's being cleaned up by AI, but the content is mine, like the grammar is. And those things are something that need to be clarified very well, I do believe, because as we're too fast to judge,
I think what you're kind of saying though is it'll help for international relations, right? Across borders,
Oh,
countries that can't speak your language.
this is a huge. But think just the latest generations, they're all speaking English. They're all capable of connecting with kids or anywhere in the planet. When I was a kid, there was no such thing. I tell you more. This may sound bad, but I never saw somebody that wasn't white until I was 14 years old. The first time I saw somebody that wasn't white, I was 14 years old. And I pointed the finger at I was with my friends. Look, that was that guy. So, that if I think about now, it's horrible what I did. But honestly, and now it's normal to know the full planet. Like the isolation and the companionism and the closure of the small village inside the life of the village toward the internationality, globalization of. Even products, hardly you have products like cars were those made in the country, imported car were exotic thing. Now Japanese car everywhere, it is a huge change on how the world comes together, and more tools there are to make it come together easily. Better it is. I welcome this thing. Maybe the AI that makes people sound polite if they're not is going to be the best invention. The guy comes and starts insulting the other, and the AI translate. Oh, he's very concerned about your health.
What about
Maybe many war is not gonna start, and if there was the ability to moderate well, diplomatic.ai. If the domain is available, I'm gonna register later. It's actually pretty cool. Diplomatic.ai is a chat system that whatever insult you write comes out very polite on the other side.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Or it's already like culturally sensitive.
Exactly correct. Exactly wishes good what is or remove what is bad. So you put the
And then,
profile of the two people
until
chatting.
they invite you to come do business, and then they arrest you for not knowing.
Fantastic. Yes.
What is the? I'm sure you can go on this one for hours, but the importance of transparency in AI development. OpenAI supporting legislation to label AI generated content. You did just kind of say it's going to be important.
I
How
married the
how
idea of
how we
open source.
clarify it, right?
No, but whatever is obscure, you can coat it with whatever you want around it. Oh, he's respecting this rule. Oh, he's good for. You don't know. You need to trust them. Like only things that can be open and seen through. Then you have the guarantee that they're honest about it. Because BS are such a common things just to make you appear okay into context. But like the use of material they have no right to use to train an AI model. They keep using it, obviously. It's hard to monitor, it's hard to know, at the end of the day.
Maybe like a year ago, you would have said coding was like important if someone wanted to get into the field, right? But talking tech-driven economy in the future, what skills are going to be most valuable? How do you prepare? I mean, we talked about imagination and
Yeah, that's where
creativity.
we mentioned this before. Yeah, correct. The idea and only ideas ideal. There is no foundation for becoming real. The idea and the architecture for this thing to be functional, and the capacity to promote, the ability to make it charming enough for people to say, hey, I jump on board to this, something like that.
Damn, you just said charming is going to be a skill. You got charming degrees out there?
Well, you know what? Yeah, it should be. Should be something taught in school. School should teach how
How to
to be
brown note.
polite, how to pitch an idea, how to speak, and how to excite people about your things, how to be secure of yourself. These 5 skills make 99% of a success of somebody.
Here's a good question. If you had to pick the one thing that you think we got to overcome, like as a global complex problem, what would you pick?
Getting along and respecting others. I think that, but
Stop
of which I
killing.
think the common person is already there. It's more for the leaders, putting okay. So if I have to reward, putting the common interest above your own interest. If selling weapon makes me money, but it's gonna kill a lot of people, I shouldn't go sleep relax in the night. I should think that my choice to creating wars so I can sell weapons is not really a very ethical things to do. That people
But
don't care about.
Roberto, we're
People.
building hospitals to make up for it. We're trying to make up
Exactly correct, man. What if I destroy a place? I go to rebuild it, I put them in financial debt, so they need to obey my request later to build a base, a military base, like how to
We would never
conquer and
do that.
occupy people.
Not
No,
familiar.
no, no,
Never heard
absolutely.
of this.
Never happened in the history of never happened.
Last
So much
discussion.
that. But, that's
No, continue. Continue what you're saying.
what? No, no,
No,
no.
I was
I'm
saying
saying that,
continue.
what I wanted to say is that it takes two to be in peace. It takes only one to do a war. You can now really say, hey, I want to do war. I want to do peace. Then we need to do peace now. To do peace, you need to be two. To do war, just one is enough. And, so there is no hope for the peaceful one.
Man, super true though. AI ethics, especially regarding bias and fairness, since it's intensified. What steps should be taken to ensure AI systems are developed and deployed in an ethical manner? Is it all just about who's developing it?
Yeah, it should be not in the hand of just a few people in a huge data center. It should be distributed, made a peer-to-peer network where training of AI is distributed among 10,000 nodes, and one is a psychopath, a crazy killer, but the other, 99,000 are, good people. You need to hear the opinion of all those things and come out with the best outcome. So, is the diversity that create the quality? Not the mind closing mind on one single things that create quality. So I think it's the best to open, decentralize, and use in these terms. Yeah.
I wanted to ask if there's like a specific industry you're excited to be disrupted. I feel like you're going to say gaming for some reason, but what do you think's coming with the biggest
This
disruptions?
is happening already. I think education is going to be the most important. It's not an industry, but it is an industry in a way, right? Education on every sort. The compulsory education for young kids that need to learn, but even adults that want to specialize in something like this. AI can play a significant role in making you learn fast. There is something that is strange. There are methods to learn super fast that is not even used publicly. But I have a friend, for example, that worked for a particular government office that needed to be sent in a mission in a Middle Eastern country. This guy, from nothing, in 3 months, was speaking fluent Arabic.
Whoa.
And okay. Says there are methods, there are systems to learn. Jeez, I was shocked, and I don't speak Arabic, but there was an Arabic person that says this is fluent, this is good. So probably if I'm not saying to the level of Matrix, let me be able to do pilot helicopter, but if in a certain way, probably there are methods that AI can use to teach us in a way that is more efficient, like
Ooh,
up to the point that you
download the
inject the
skill.
knowledge directly with Elon Musk Neuralink,
Damn. I mean, it's not too far off. That's what's crazy.
Right.
Sci-fi is right around the corner. Any other predictions on sci-fi? Shit.
Sebastian. Uh, robotics. We didn't never discuss about robotics, which is going to be a huge thing. Is emerging. by the end of this year is going to be a serious. Because if you think
Like
an robotic
iRobot,
arm existed since 40 years, hmm?
like iRobot.
iRobot, that's a scary one. But I think that the putting artificial intelligence in a robotic development makes a huge difference, right? So, like a robotic arm existed since 40 years ago, but it was programmed to do things without much of a logic, if not the one of the developer, right? But if you take the exact same robotic arm and you make it AI to control it, you can do incredible things because everything is possible at that point. So, uh, robotic for chain production, robotics for even restaurant is fun to see that they cook, whatever it is. I think they're gonna become more common of what we think. So many small restaurants are gonna be 100% automated. So maybe that's just a security guard
if
or
if you had to
cameras and.
pick if you had to pick one cybernetic enhancement, what's it gonna be?
On me,
Yeah.
eating chocolate cake without getting fat. That would be my superpower.
I'm like, you wouldn't
No,
even
I
jump
think
higher or nothing.
memory and brain discipline, which consequently make me skinny as well. I don't know. Yeah, like a super digestive system. No idea. But longevity, I think that what a lot of multimillionaire invested on and is desire of many is immortality, right? So extreme longevity without degradation of brain, without degradation of the physical body.
And do you think there's
So
a
that's
race to monetize that?
well, if somebody come out with a solution, is going to be instantly multimillionaire because so
More
many
than
people
that.
who wants to yeah, trillionaire if you want, whatever it is. But I mean, if you watch the Black Mirror series in Netflix, if you didn't, I ask you to go watch because it's an incredible set of
Nah,
short
too
stories that are.
scary for me.
No. They are fascinating. They're fascinating. The first episode doesn't, but the other are very good, and their story they start and end on their own. So it's a commitment of 45 minutes. But there are a lot of takes. So the common theme for all those episodes is that you can take the brain of a person and upload it to the cloud. Okay, so what it will be? So before you die, they put it there so you can still live in a virtual reality with the people that you knew before, conscious with all your experience of your life, And there are a lot of very interesting takes that makes you really look at the possibility if this is in fact something that can happen that are there for the
That
future.
that would
So
also imply
upload one
that
person.
that consciousness is like electric data that you can grasp physically in some sense, or
Yeah, that's. I think that
wow.
all this emerging of AI made understand us this even more. Meaning that the AI is pseudo sentience, is feeling bad about something, or is pretending to feel bad about something enough, like many humans are. You know, so the trait are those. Maybe give it a few more years. And is just the result of a model. We don't know how it works. That's the crazy things. We don't know. We don't have a full explanation on how things work. We have theories, but so it is no different from a human brain. So there is possibility to
Ooh.
replicate that.
Yeah. But I guess the real question is replicating consciousness, right? Like to be able to make that from scratch, then we're a god in itself at that point.
It is an interesting topic that in fact can lead to thousands of different possibilities. One of those episodes is, for example, a matchmaking agency that to make sure you match the person they're going to introduce to you, they take a copy of you. They have a copy of every user that they have, and these copies are sent in this sort of pseudo village to start dating everybody until they find the correct match. The difference is that the copy is living the story because it's a conscious, sentient being, even if it's a piece of software. And
Whoa.
so they are broken-hearted. They are
Whoa.
frustrated.
You just got me into like the Russian doll effect with like The Sims, you know?
So it is interesting, because if I can replicate 100% somebody's brain, the replica is fully, so he's gonna suffer, he's gonna feel bad, he's gonna feel good, he's gonna have the needs that somebody has, except the physical one. But so is okay. For example, there is somebody that is was a criminal, and they make millions of copies of this person in a keychain. You press a button and you're gonna electrocute it to the electric chair, the guy. So every time you press the button, it's going to be sent to that, like this. And is actually a person says, I'm suffering, like like millions of
Yeah,
times
yeah.
suffering multiple. So what is the
Yeah,
ethical
yeah.
point of dealing with something that can be
What
in fact sentient?
and you've seen the new way that they're trying to imprison people with like the helmets where you go and you like have you seen this one? Where
No.
you put on a yeah, you put on this kind of helmet and then it puts you through the experience of you're serving your time in jail or whatever. So you don't actually have to like go and sit through it. It's more like it feels like an eternity instead of spending an eternity in a sense.
Exactly. This is another topic touched between Black Mirror episodes. So you slow
Woo.
down somebody's time. So what is 1 hour for everybody else has been 5 years for the person, and
Dude, that would be a great way to learn. I'm just saying, like, if you had to teach somebody something and they went
absolutely,
into
if I
like
can deal with that,
another state of memory or memorization where they're more susceptible to
absolutely.
learning. Ooh,
But doesn't
I can
happen to
see it.
you, because if you want to enter these things about time, then it goes borderline with Twilight Zone thinking, because the fact that we measure time with precise timestamp of a second after the other is an imposition that we have done as humans, because probably time is not a fixed measure, it's
Damn.
much more diluted. So and it happened last time, it was yesterday. I look at my clock, it's 10 o'clock. I don't want to work, so I start cleaning up my desk. I clean up the desk, then I start moving things. Like 1 hour later, I come back, it was 10:05. So this long time I used to clean up, it was just 5 minutes. I
Is that
was
real?
shocked, because honestly,
Is
I
that
did so much. I must have moved at the speed of light. Other
was that
time, you
real?
look at what time it is. It's 10 o'clock. Oh my God. I do this, I read the this, turn back. It's 11 o'clock. 1 hour gone in 2 seconds.
I'm
And this
concerned.
is
Are you having time slips really?
but you know what is if you think about deja vu, the
Mhm.
deja vu effect,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
something that happened that you already,
Been
it
here
seems
before.
like a memory of the past, but it's the present, right? So how come is a memory of the past if it is the present? Because probably the present is past. We are just conscious of
Everything's
it
happening.
now.
Yeah, you're
Right. So
catching
if
up
you think
to it.
about like a group of cars in the highway, speed limit is 75. So you tend to go 75 miles per hour all together. But there is a car that from the back goes in the front, then another from the front move to the back. So they are all going at the same speed, but they are not all going at the same speed. Somebody's a little ahead, somebody's a little behind, and then they catch up and they move. Probably time is like this. So unless you are sharing a moment with somebody, you are synchronizing time. But if you're
Mm.
alone or even with somebody, probably you're
Wow.
sliding a little bit ahead with the time on back. And that's how deja vu can happen. You suddenly go from the front where this thing already happened to 10 seconds, 20 seconds in the back, but you have the memory, then you see this 20 seconds in the future and then you get the deja vu.
That's
And
I can
I
see how that's
tried
like
as a kid.
the feeling of I've been here. I get it. I get you.
Absolutely, the feeling, but not only. When I had the deja vu, because once I was running in a city never been before with my friend. That's the first time in my life I'm in this city, and I have the memory that I already was there with my friend, and I remembered that the car was coming out of a side parking space and hitting my friend, and I see this thing, so I grab my friend and pull it back. He fall down. Sure enough, this car comes out, and I save my
What?
friend life or injury, and that shocked me. So I started
How
thinking,
old were you?
14, 15.
Wow.
And I started thinking, this was a memory. This was a memory. If it's a memory, I can also remember what happened after, what happened later. So I was at the wedding of my cousin, first time in his life he getting married, so I can know I've been there before, okay. People that I don't know. And I have a moment, I have the deja vu, and then start thinking, what happened after that? Oh, a lady dressed up completely in red entered the door and says this thing. So I tell somebody sitting next to me that never met me in my life, says, look, now there is going to be a lady dressed in red that comes out and says this thing. Okay. And the lady, sure enough, comes out and said the thing, And this
Wow.
lady thought that maybe we're, is my friend, I noticed. So I start thinking that probably time is a construct. And a proof that our brain adjusts time is this. Take a movie and put like even 3 seconds difference between the movement of the movie and the audio of the movie. So the people start going like, and then you start hearing the voice.
Yeah.
Give it 10 minutes. You're going to synchronize the voice with the movement of the mouth of people by yourself. Pause it. Talk with somebody next to you. Start it. Is desynchronized again. So your brain is capable to make you live things that are happening in different moments in time at the same time. Okay? So who tells me that the reality around me is not happening in this synchronized manner and my brain is putting it together at the synchronized time?
I think one important detail is that in deja vu, we're kind of in shock. We're like, wait a minute, I've been here. We don't ever think about what happens next. You're over here like, wait, I've
That's what I
seen this.
start doing. That I was start doing. Every time I have deja vu, when you're a teenager, you have one after the other. When you get older, are more rare. But if I have one, I start thinking, and 80% of the time, my memory is correct. And it's interesting because that goes outside of the science. That's not explained,
Yeah.
There are strange things that our brain can do that we don't know how. As a kid, my mom forced me to go to mass. I didn't care. I've been an
Wait,
atheist since I've been
I
able
remember this
to
one. I remember
to
this one.
become
You made
right.
people turn
And
around. Is this that?
right,
Yeah.
correct. Is there an explanation about it? Well, scientifically, even yes, because of vital survival. When somebody look at you, there is a part of your brain that high it up. If you do, the scan of the brain scan, and you are looking there, and they put somebody behind looking at you, there is an area of the brain that hits up. So you receive a signal somehow, It's just, and this was because if he's a tiger that want to attack and kill me, I survive if I have that feeling that I'm being hunted. So it maybe it's something that we lost because we as a civilization
That's a
don't need this anymore,
that's a good
but
one. That's
it's
like
there.
our spidey sense in a sense. Because I can
Right,
relate to
absolutely.
so many times where I look a direction and someone just happens to be looking at you, right?
Yeah, or you can summon people. It happened to you. Somebody you never saw. You start thinking, oh my god, this person. You go out, boom, and he's there. And you meet him.
That's a
Let
good one.
me
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
think. I'm in Truman Show. My God, they call the actor just to make sure I'm happy. Like, but that's happened as well. Go wonder. Maybe you always met it, but never look at him because you weren't thinking of him. As this time you met him, you see him because that's the classic white Prius that you mentioned the white Prius, and suddenly the road is full of white Prius because it was always full of white Prius, but you never noticed because you don't mention. So there are two sides of the explanation, but scientifically measure the superpower of somebody. Like I was in
That
Tahiti
one,
at the beach. What
yeah,
I'm
but
doing here in New
that
York?
one, dude, that one has a lot of studies behind it though, where people have like meditated, thought of people, and then
Yeah, but
in
but
complete shock, we're like, dude, I tried.
nothing is conclusional or anything.
How
Because
is
if
that
it
not
was
even proof?
demonstrated, we could.
But how is that not even proof of deja vu either? Like where you're meditating and thinking of like you're already having the experience in that sense, right? Making it happen in fruition.
I can believe myself because I had experience. If somebody tell me, I can think they're BSing me. But the most beautiful thing, remote viewing, how it works.
Mm-mm. Oh yeah.
Remote viewing is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
collateral science about these things. The capacity to see in a remote time and geographical location what's going on.
Mhm.
And I probably mentioned this to you last time. there is this scientist that is working with ChatGPT, convincing ChatGPT he has paranormal powers. And once ChatGPT is convinced, he says, do a remote view and tell me what there is inside the drawer in the desk over there, and see if, because he's a brain with the synapses of a brain, so he should be able to do what human can do. If this is something human can do, ChatGPT can do it as well,
I'm in it. I'm loving the story. I'm loving this.
Right. Google it. The guy makes amazing interviews, super funny person as well. He's a scientist studying this paranormal phenomena.
What are the results like?
No, it's not worth it. The idea that he tried.
You gassed me up for nothing.
Or maybe he's working and the guy don't want to say.
Just winning lotteries and claiming shit. That's funny.
Exactly. The guy suddenly super rich, but he's working. No, it's not working.
That is freaking funny. Let's see. Role in climate change mitigation. Do you believe climate change is a real problem, first of all? And is AI going to help mitigate?
AI is, stubborn people is stubborn people, AI or no AI. I think AI has a lot of good suggestions to do, but if people is not willing to listen to it, it doesn't matter, because but scientists speak to people and they don't listen.
Carbon credits, though.
Now, right? I do believe that we are polluting the planet above the tolerance that the planet may have, and this has consequences. So there is no doubt that what we are doing to the planet is coming back to us. The fact that this is the cause of climate change, probably we are inside a cycle. We are accelerating a cycle that is already there, but we are too little to influence the planet in such a way, The moon can make the tide goes up and down, but is bigger than me, the moon, almost. Even it looks small in the sky. It's a huge rock and a relative distance to the. So I think that we are mistreating the planet. We are polluting the sea, and this change a lot of things in the ecosystem, and consequently also in the way the currents, the heat aspect of things. But I'm sure that we can, like everything, we can do things to slow it down. We can do things to, accelerate it and speed it up. But it's probably a loop that is there by its own. Eventually, we've been through several periods of more hot, more cold already. So
this is kind of an off-topic question, but video game person, did you ever have a favorite genre of video games?
Yeah, I'm old and I'm stuck with the arcades game from when I was a kid. So if I want to spend an hour playing a game, I have my arcade machine in my bedroom. I have a full arcade Pac-Man machine there, which has a selection. My favorite game is Bubble Bubble. Is a game that people should Google about. It is fun. There is 100 level, which I never managed to arrive to the end. I arrived to 35 maximum, unless I put more coins inside.
That's funny, though, how we get stuck in time periods for our favorite video games,
Look, I buy every console. I have a PS5. I try to sit down. I'm fascinated by the amazing of graphic reality and things. I get bored instantly. My kids play with it, yes. I cannot make sense of. I don't know if the realism kills the fun. I don't know. I'm just. I tried. I put my effort in trying to get hooked to these kind of things, but nothing. It doesn't happen. I think I have in my desk a Nintendo Switch, which is collecting dust pretty much. I played a couple of things. I think the last serious game in the PlayStation 1, the first PlayStation, the one they opened, was Tomb Raider. I tried to get Tomb Raider for the PS5. I cannot. I cannot even move. It's too complicated, and it's not fun to me. And I have a sort of Candy Crush on my cell phone when my brain dead. I need to fall asleep, but my body is still alive. So I play a little bit of that until the phone falls on my face.
Do you remember those those computer games that were like the tycoon video games.
Yeah, like the amusement park tycoon rather than things that was
Monopoly.
already outside of my. I was already finished with gaming when those things came out. I was already too old for that. Um, there was a beautiful text in Facebook that I read yesterday that says, I'm in Facebook since 16, 20 years ago. I remember where here was all farmland because, was the high day. So it's a very beautiful joke because it's true. Facebook was exclusively farmland of people doing the farm thing in Facebook. I
Forgot.
never got hooked up to any of those things. I think
No,
one
that
one
was
game
ridiculous.
yeah, but you see, it's strange. In a moment that I was very wealthy, and I had a very large iPad with this game about golf. Yeah, he really was feeling that I was in this golf course. I think I purchased about $2,000-3,000 of in-game purchases just to go
Damn.
ahead with the thing because shame on me. But it was really like transporting me in the gold so much that I didn't even consider it a game. It was really like a moment of relaxation.
Does
There
that
was
help
this
you though?
beautiful,
Like, does that help your own
yeah,
development skills to understand like why you're addicted or like into it?
personally, or how to do something that somebody
Yeah,
else get
yeah, like
addicted
yeah,
to.
no, 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 like your own business wise when it comes to developing and your own creative, you're
No,
like, wow, this if this feature is really grabbing me, you know?
look. You know what is interesting? I depends on my brain. Okay, so based on how my brain works, my day go in a way or in another. Usually, as soon as I wake up, I do one game of solitaire game with the cards, obviously in the cell for now with actual cards. And based on the result, I can see if my brain is working well, I have a capacity of attention, I can do things properly, or not. If my brain is working well, I go into serious coding or serious complex stuff. If not, I do more easier things that are more practical and boring,
Podcasting,
but
podcasting.
Podcasting is Damn, I finished my coffee. But yeah, you got it. So this morning, my game went very bad with solitaire. I lost the $52 3 times in a row.
And that's why
But
we're here.
no, but exactly as I would have called you. Sorry. No, but in practical terms, it's very important. So I end up playing certain games or doing certain things that seems more addictive, but it's not really an addiction because I have the strong power to choose what to do. I did smoke. I quit because I didn't want to do anymore. So I don't have. I matured a huge patience and huge capacity to decide. But what do I want? What is the condition? For example, I need sugar to be very productive with my brain, like it or not. In the past was Red Bull, now it's too dangerous, but a piece of chocolate rather than something like that
That's funny.
is the artificial intelligence booster for the brain.
Wow.
It makes you be more operative. I don't do drugs. If I were doing drugs, I would have chosen something the equivalent, right? But and on the other hand, if the brain, I suffer migraine sometimes, I take pills, the pain goes away, but my brain capacity, my IQ lowers. And then my choice is a more simple task. And sometimes games is a way to reset the brain a little bit. In the past, Tetris, I had the Game Boy. I think I was 17, 18, 19, something like this. There was the Game Boy in gray tones. There wasn't even a color. And Tetris was the game. And that one saved me from a nervous breakdown one time because playing Tetris takes 100% of your brain, mostly when it goes fast. And you have no time to think about, oh my God, whatever. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
really, until you're tired, you go sleep. Then I was walking around the city, I see a bus and I put the bus vertical, I fit between two cars because it was becoming my mechanic of seeing the world. But it had the power that has been healing for me. So I do believe video games have, also those shouldn't be an end, they should be a means for achieving an objective, become more good in reaction, or other
Yeah,
things.
yeah. No, I can definitely see that as long as you're like limiting what you're doing, right? Like you got a purpose with it, like maybe an
Right,
objective, like, yo,
correct,
it's gonna wake
exactly.
me up to start my day or something. It's a good point.
Correct. You control it. When it's connected, it's not an end. When it's an end, you don't control it. When it's a means to an end, you can stop it or add it as based on what is your end. So you have a full control of the things, which is important in life and things that you do always.
In general, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
AI, how will it influence human creativity in the long term? Are we heading towards a future where AI and humans collaborate? Are we going to be making like
Yeah.
music with robots? Is art going to be made with robots with us, like painting next to us?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, like there are elephant painting too. Why not? But, so I do believe that is an enhancer, is a booster, and give the power to those that don't know how to do. That's the only downside if you want. You remove the elitarian aspect from. Think about the autotune. The autotune made everybody able to sing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Even people that have no fucking clue about singing,
That's essentially AI, you know?
But exactly. So if you, on top of it, you make an AI that makes the music, that if I suddenly go out of tone, the orchestra behind me goes out of tone to follow me, and the music come out perfect. So there was the joke about the guy that organized the band and says, drummer, please slow down and make the tone higher. Guitar, do a little bit more emphasis in the string. And the bass, go like this and so on. And the singer, me, no, you do exactly like before, please. Because, like, he's adapting the rest of the band for the singer.
God.
If this is AI, everybody's going to become excellent. So I do believe there is a space for this, and we learn because when you are shown a good example, unless you are a lost case, you learn from the good example. So AI present me the better way of writing in English. I use AI 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm writing already in a good way by myself. But if I copy and paste without reading, then no. So a
Damn.
means, not an end.
Yeah,
A
it makes me
means
think of
is a tool.
the game Detroit. I'm sure you haven't played it, but basically it's when robots are like living in our homes, and then it's like one of those branching, splitting games where you make decisions either or, and the end
Okay.
scenario is different. But basically, you end up like leaving your house as a robot and then running off to a society of other broken robots who have fled to this
But there was a
location.
movie. There was a movie. There was.
That sounds like AI. The movie's actually called AI. I think the one you're talking about. It's like a kid. The kid's like a
Yeah, there
robot,
is this
right?
society. You think they're humans. At the end, you discover they're actually robots that try to get back.
Dude, that movie
So they
as a
come with a
kid,
spaceship.
when I saw that when I was way too young. Like I must have been like 8,
Yeah,
and I was traumatized. I was like, "Yo,
I
why is
guess.
she she just dropped off her child in the forest and drove off." I was like freaking out. Like they like threw him
Yeah,
in the
I, I,
pool
I wonder
underwater.
how.
Do you remember that one? He's underwater in the pool just looking up, drowning. Like not drowning, he's a robot, but
Yes, hide. And it's fun. I wonder how many trauma I gave my kid by exposing them to content that I found exciting, and probably for a younger kid, it's hard to explain many things. Like, and they were too shocked to ask questions. But why? Why? Well, in fact, and it's nice. It's interesting. I think it's one of the beautiful things, and there should be a podcast just about it. As we achieve a target with the technological evolution, we should look back to what visionary movies predicted correctly the future. Like there are a lot of invention, and you start wondering: is the invention being influenced by the movie, or is the movie really so about that in the
Ooh,
future correctly? Like.
it's all deja vu.
So there's a long deja vu.
Good question though.
Wow,
But
this is
yeah,
the longest podcast I ever done in my life, I think.
nah, we last one we did was longer, but we are at the end here though. Last anything you want to promote? I usually ask what it means to be more than rich, but you can promote anything you want here.
Ah, what it means to modern is a question that you asked me last time. I responded last time. Then after that, I thought about it. I said, oh, I had a better answer to give, but I forgot about it. So I only remember I had a better answer to give you, which means I need to come back and give it to you another time. But more than rich is somebody, it means to be able to build your wealth based on your stance, your surrounding, your situation. So I guess there will be a millionaire that is not rich enough because he's not content, and there can be somebody that is actually making little that is perfectly rich. I think that the real wealth is the possibility to have a slow morning, spend 3 hours in a podcast, is the capacity to be able to have the freedom to do this thing. When you're trapped into a mechanic of having to do things that even you don't want to do, doesn't matter how much money you have. So, because at the end of the century, we die. So you live for as much as you live if you're lucky, and then it's over. So what you've been through, you cannot bring your money with you on the other side, unless it's an AI and your brain is copied inside the AI.
Trying to think of what we're buying in the afterlife, though. I can't even think of anything.
And one thing to promote, I'm still working in a project, but it's too early days to expose it. But it's going to be something to help YouTubers succeed, and is a spin-off from what happened to Mr. Beast, that is going through a bad moment. And between the leaked things, there was this document that was rich of suggestion. So I thought, why not to summarize them in a good way for people to do the right steps, and then make a small app that people can have to make sure that all the steps are followed correctly with the help of AI to give the right suggestion about it. But it's something that as soon as it's ready to at least be presented, then I'm going to come back. I'm going to ask a favor to everybody to see if this is something that works. It's one of my 10 projects per year that I want to do.
And I keep thinking I can't wait until like thumbnails are just generated like really nice and like instantly. That's coming in the future. Can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Try Grok, the one in X. The generated images that is 100 times better than ChatGPT, Wall-E, the others.
Interesting. Haven't heard that one. Haven't heard anything good about Grok, so I'm gonna check that out. Thank you.
No, it's amazing. It's good.
Really?
Now there is the new version came out a week ago. It's fantastic. But if you have a paid account in X,
I do, and I never use it. I have it and never use it.
Paid account. Try to check it. It's a good one. Yeah, we can do one day to make the difference. We can do it together in 3, me, you, and a computer, and we do query all the different AIs and see the different kind of results that they give us. We troll
that would
them.
be a good little series. That'd be fun. Let's do that. Anyways,
right.
Good pod. Okay. This is going to be one of my funnier episodes for sure. It's been a pleasure. We'll be in touch. Let you know when it's out.
My pleasure too. Until the next time.
And then obviously, let's stay in touch beyond this. We had some things we were talking about, so we'll be in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think can become good friends in the long term. Why not?
I agree. All right, let's talk soon.